All right. Okay, so let's start. Okay, remember I told you, gave you a homework yesterday. Maybe you can share something on that. Anybody want to share about companies that had pivoted, from during the pandemic?
I say the first one.
Yeah, Ken. Yeah, Nazri.
Okay. From during the pandemic, before the pandemic, the conventional one. My friend, my family relative also, my friends, they have a bundle shop. The used wear, clothes, the shoes, selling there. All the about the clothes and the shoes is used and then selling in the bundle and the cheaper one. But during the pandemic, the store cannot open, and then the people cannot come.
Yeah.
So they change. I think they're very popular right now. They change to do the selling the item in the internet during using the FB Live.
FB Live lah.
Okay. Yeah, FB Live. So somehow they have 100 people. Somehow 50 people see the live, and then they log they buy the thing that they like, and then give the particular information about the send the account number of PM or using the WhatsApp, and then they grab the thing, and then they sending with the courier or sending with the COD. They're sending to the house, back door to door, somehow sending with the courier service. It's good to people think of the box and then react to the current situation. I think it's good. Somehow we discuss about the Grab food, Food Panda, all the things sending the food to the house, home to home. Somehow they're using the platform, the same platform, but not in the apps. Just using WhatsApp, sell the thing, and then business can carry on. So the thing is depend on the people, how they to improve themselves.
How they, that's called pivoting. Like you change your business. Yeah. Anybody else want to share? Anybody else want to share?
Yeah, Mr. Franklin.
Yes, Deva.
I read this one. I just read in the Google, so I found out that T Live.
T Live, yes. Okay. Brian Lula, he's the CEO.
Brian, yes. What he did before this pandemic, they don't have such thing as e-commerce business.
Okay.
They were more on only the shop, the outlet only you can buy. So April last year, they started with this e-commerce. So they started to sell bubble tea kit online. So they started after the pandemic.
After the pandemic, they started.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
So first, before starting e-commerce, he posted in Insta. I did a survey with the customers. So the feedback was good. So after that, they started to do online. So now he said that he's going to focus more online too.
He's a very good entrepreneur. We can actually note, the guy is quite good. A young guy, but a lot of initiative ideas that he has. Good. He life, huh? Anybody else?
I'll go, Mr.
Yes, Sudha.
Okay. I was found this particular story also in the internet. It's about Dia Confectionery. They started this business about 8 years ago.
What is Dia Confectionery then?
Dia, DIYAA. Dia Confectionery. Basically, they like cakes,
Cakes, yeah.
Cookies and cakes, local cookies and snacks and also crackers. They basically do this for Deepavali, right? So, and on top of that, they also sell this to the corporate very corporate businesses. So when pandemic struck, so all of a sudden the revenue dropped tremendously. So what he did is that it's a husband and wife kind of business, So what the husband did is that he spent about 1,000 ringgit. He got a professional photographer and also videographer, right? and he took a picture and also some photographs, some video, and he created his own website, just 1,000 ringgit, 1,000 ringgit, and started promoting his products, and all of a sudden his revenue actually increased to 3 times more than when it was before pandemic, right? So much so nowadays he just cannot take the orders. He's trying to stop people from ordering. Okay, so that is another success story, I would say.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
We went online line. Anybody else?
Mr. Franklin?
Yeah. Yeah, Faisal.
I want to share about my company.
Yeah, Faisal.
So before pandemics, my staff almost around 100 packs at Rapid. And then after that, on March and towards, I have to reduce 50% from 100 lah. And then so the staff is there, but I have to think how to survive during pandemic. And then my clique offer me to fund with him to supply face mask.
Face mask, okay.
Yeah, face mask during pandemic, which is the fund around 100,000. So we collect our fund, so around four funder, and then we get the revenue 100% from our fund. So we so now still continue, but not so heavy like pandemic.
Like before lah.
Like before.
Yeah, face mask now everywhere.
Yeah. So before, lah, the face mask, the price is very high.
Yeah, actually, my friend, what he did when the pandemic hit, face mask was very expensive, right? One face mask is selling for few ringgit or something like that. I think 10 ringgit. I don't know what, like, very expensive they were selling, right? Isn't it? So what he did, he imported, he made a mistake. He imported from China one carton of one container, I think he spent about 400,000, he imported from China. And then what happened, got stuck in the pot. It got stuck in the pot for many months until now the price of the thing has gone down already. It's some like waste, total waste. Now he bought it for $1 one or something like that. Now even you can sell for $1. How you can't make money, from there. So sometimes there are some people who get stuck, but you are lucky in that sense. You're able to clear and settle the thing. Good. Right. One more person. Any one more person can share about some company.
Sir, I can share.
Yes, Shabi.
It's about CAE company, the flight simulator for pilots and also universities.
What's the name of the company?
CAE.
CAE, yeah?
Yeah. So during the pandemic time, their product cannot sell and the universities are not open and all of that. So they also fired about 100 people over there. So after that, they really changed the method and they they create the air sanitizer for the universities and also for the schools.
They changed the product lah.
Yeah, they changed the product to air sanitizer lah. So in Canada, there is one school is implemented that, and they can see some profit and all of that. So they call back the 100 employees and give back the work.
Okay, that's good. That's good. All right. Now, the reason I told you to look into this is because remember when you're going to write about company, maybe you can use some of the ideas or maybe you can even choose that particular company when you're doing your assignment, probably that day I was reading about a company dealing with gaming. The gaming, there are some places where they have these gaming computers, So the students and people come and play, games and big games. So all string of computers. So this company has they call it esports lah. Now it's esports. How many of you like esports? I think some of you like to play computer games and all that, right? So what they did was suddenly because of the pandemic, nobody attended came. So what they thought, hey, how can we improve our business? How can we change our business? So what they did was, they started renting the computer. Okay, let's say for example, Nasri, you like to play maybe Dota games like that, What they do, they send the computer to your house. Okay, you play the game. So you rent it by number of days. When you're in the cyber cafe kind of thing, you rent by 1 hour, right? 1 hour, how much? Yeah? Here they rent it by day, you know, that kind of. So they started sending your computers to different places, and they started getting back the revenue that way. Like you said, this is all a way of how you look at it. Entrepreneurs are those people who are able to, you know, change according to the situation. So I think that is the important thing. All right, good. All right, so keep learning, you know, keep reading about, you know, what's happening around line. I think it's very important line, you know, that as managers, you know, because you all are doing MBA, some of you just started the journey of MBA. Okay, MBA is a journey, and it doesn't end there. You know, see, important thing is you need to keep updated on what's happening around us, because the people here, you all are going to be future CEOs of company. Some of you are already like some of them running their own business, you know, like Wins and all that. You know, some of you you might become a CEO of your company, because you do your MBA, you know, you've studied, you learn the thing, you become a CEO of the company. So as a CEO of the company, it's very important, and not only to know what you are doing. Maybe you're doing engineering only, you know, like Nazri, maybe you're doing teaching, training only, that only you know. But you might not know other aspects of the business. So it's important for us to know what is happening around. What are the changes that are happening? You know, what are the new innovations that are happening that might affect your industry? Because as a CEO, remember we talked about the different types of strategy, right? Corporate strategy, business strategy, and the last one is the what do you call functional strategy. As you move up, you know, now you're on the functional level. Functional means you're the head of the department, you know, things like that. Once you come up, you got to look at the whole entire company and see what is the direction the company has to move. So you have to update yourself with knowledge. It's very important. Keep reading, keep learning, you know, what you get and apply it, you know, all these things. All right. Okay, good. So let's do a review of yesterday. Let's see. Okay, right. Okay, can you tell me anything that you all learned yesterday? What did you learn yesterday? Anything? Deva, what did you learn yesterday? One thing.
I learned entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur. Okay, you learned the word entrepreneur. Good. Okay. How about Nazri? What did you learn?
Characteristic as an entrepreneur.
What is that? Characteristics of entrepreneur.
Characteristic. Yeah, characteristic.
Faisal, what did you learn?
The idea to diversify business.
Okay, different ideas how to diversify the business. Thinking, we're changing our thinking. Right. Okay, good. Anybody else? Izzati, what did you learn?
Yesterday I learned quite a lot, especially in terms of entrepreneur itself. We are going to in depth, and then about the cost, strategy, leadership, and everything, all the terms and so on. But the one thing that very interested yesterday lesson is about the use case, the market study itself. Example, like we talk about Huawei 5G, you know, they try to tap all the market, and unfortunately they are still trying to survive. Then last not least, you know, I learned about how the entrepreneurs, you know, to react into the current situation, especially in the pandemic time.
Yeah, all right, that's good. Well, a lot of things that you'd learned. Okay, so let's just do a review of yesterday. What are the different things that we learned? Okay. All right, so first we looked at who is an entrepreneur. Remember the definition of entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is somebody who creates a new business, okay, and risks and uncertainty for profit and growth, so that they can, you know, capitalize on opportunities. Now, we found that entrepreneurs are more focused on opportunity. You know, that's what they look at. You know, they're not interested in. Sometimes they're not interested in profit. You know, they're only interested in opportunity. How can I get the opportunity? You know, beginning. How can I grab the opportunity? They're looking more onto opportunity rather than resources. You know, as compared to a normal business, we will look at, okay, let's say you want to venture into a new business, a new area. Like, what do you look? You'll ask whether we got money or not, right? Isn't it? For example, a company wants to move into a new area of business. We look and say, hey, do we have the resources or not? Then only we will go and so on. But in entrepreneur, you look at the opportunity and then go and carry the resources. That's different, the way they run the business is totally different. The focus is different. Okay? Entrepreneur look at opportunity. Oh, this thing had an opportunity. Okay, where can I get the money from? That's where their thinking is. Okay? But a normal business, which is already a traditional business, when you want to get into a new opportunity, you look at, hey, do I have resources or not? Do I have the manpower or not? Then baru kita pergi buat ini lah. That's their concept. Okay? So that's a two different approach, to business. Entrepreneurial approach and the traditional business approach. Okay. And then we looked at different types of entrepreneurs. We have the opportunity entrepreneur. People like they look at the opportunity and then straight away jump into it. Like Grab is one good example. Uber, we looked at two examples like Amazon. Serial entrepreneur are those who start businesses, and finish and sell it off, start another one like that. Parallel entrepreneurs are those who do 2 or 3 businesses at the same time. They're running few businesses together. For example, good example with Tony Fernandez. He not only has the airline, but he also has the football club. I don't know whether he sells already or not. But I think he sold the F1 company that he had. So he's a parallel entrepreneur, runs few different enterprises together. And then the necessity entrepreneur, those who start because of a challenge in their business, maybe they've been retrenched. So these different types of entrepreneurs we have, right? And we also look at entrepreneur, and also the social entrepreneur. We looked at few different types of entrepreneurial things. Now, aspects of entrepreneurship, we looked at, first of all, the creation, then is the time and effort to build the business, then you take the risk, and then finally you reap the rewards. These are the 4 steps. We looked at examples of Apple, how they started, 2 of them started together in the garage, and how in 1985, is where they made money, become IPO, and then they become very rich. And so we looked at the story of Apple, how the concept is. And then we looked at the 4 steps in the entrepreneurial process. First of all, in order for you to be an entrepreneur, 4 steps. First, you have to identify, not all opportunity you can actually embark a business. So you need to evaluate. We looked at a few questions, what to ask. If somebody comes with an opportunity, what are the questions to ask, right? Opportunity assessment. And then after we do that, you have to develop a plan for the business. Okay, today we're going to look at the plan, how to do the plan, what is the business plan, okay? And then you look at the resources, what are the different resources that we need, in order for us to start the business. Okay, we looked at a few types of resources. And then finally is managing the enterprise. Okay, yesterday we looked at it and say a lot of companies have problem when it comes to the management part. Okay, we looked at the example of Apple, how Steve Jobs, he was kicked 1986. The company that he started, and now he is kicked out from the own company. And how did that happen? Because he couldn't know how to manage the enterprise. And he could not, what they call is good for the company in the future. So what they do, he has to be eliminated from the management board. And how, it's important that, in management, entrepreneurs, sometimes not all entrepreneurs are good managers. They need to hire professional managers. So we looked at that. And then we look at the word competitive advantage. What is competitive advantage? Anybody can tell me? What is competitive advantage, Nazri?
The thing that we expert, we champion on that.
No, that is core competency. Your champion on that is core competency.
Sorry.
Competitive advantage is what are you good at, better than the, what do you call, the other. Like, for example, Deva was talking about her. Yeah, like Deva was talking about her company, the competitive advantage, they have got the biggest lighting showroom in the whole of Seremban. That's a competitive advantage. Everything is under one roof, like what Vince was telling you. Their competitive advantage, these companies, everything is under one roof. Okay, so anybody you want to look, everything we do for you. That's a competitive advantage. Other companies, I might have to go buy this one there, this one there, this one there. So it's difficult for me. So competitive advantage is what do you have that is better, than other your competitors. Okay. Now remember this word. This is very important. You come across this word again and again in other subjects also. For example, definitely in strategic management, you'll come across competitive advantage. And as a business person or as working in your company, you must find out what is a competitive advantage. You must tell your boss, boss. If the boss comes to you and tell you, hey, we want to be competitive, then you got to tell him, what is our competitive advantage? everybody sit down and think, what is your competitive advantage? If we don't have a competitive advantage, you're not going to survive in today's environment. Let me tell you that, okay? If you don't have a competitive advantage, your company is not going to survive, okay? Find the competitive advantage. We looked at how you can find it. You can be the fastest, you can be the cheapest, you can be the best quality. The competitive advantage are all these, right? Okay. And then we looked at something else called sustained competitive. Competitive advantage alone is not enough. You need to sustain it for a long period, right? So we looked at some of the different kind of. Then core competency is what you said just now. Core competency is fundamental knowledge, ability, or expert. Your expertise on one area. Petronas is good in what? Exploration. Okay? That's their area of expertise. Okay, so basically, like Felda and FGV recently, remember what they said is they went too big. They invested in so many things. Hotel in London lah, banyak benda dia buat lah, So when the new CEO came, what he said is we need to focus back on our core competency. That means where are we strongest? Don't go and do too many things. Focus on your core. So every company also need to know what is the company's core competency. All right, and then from there you can expand to or diversify into other businesses. So many companies who over diversify have actually gone, have failed, because why? They forget their core competency. All right. Now we looked at focus strategy. Remember, I told you that if we want to start a business, there are only 5 strategies that we can use, or basically mainly 3. One is cost leader. You can be cheaper than everybody else. That's one. Or you can be different from everybody else. When you're different from everybody else, you can charge them a premium price. Okay? Or cost leader, you got to be cheaper than everybody. For example, if you go to MEI730, okay, they are cost leader. They want to be cheaper than everybody else. So differentiation are like, for example, if you go to certain supermarkets, very high-end supermarkets, they want to be different from everybody else. So they don't mind, you don't mind spending money for that kind of thing. So differentiation. Focus, you're focused on one particular market alone. Okay, maybe if you don't have a lot of money, maybe you can just focus your business on a small market, at that market, and then grow that particular market. So that could be a focus strategy, right? Or you can have a combination: focus leader, cost leader, or focus differentiation. So there are only 5 strategies that we get actually do. Okay. And then we looked at resources, there are different types of resources: valuable, rare, hard to copy, and non-substitutable. Okay, valuable resources are, for example, it could be property, it could be location, that could be a valuable thing for you. There are some businesses that their location is excellent location, and that is valuable, and then that is their resource that they have. Some can be rare, Rare means, for example, remember I talked to you about, example of leaders, very good leader, that's rare. Hard to copy, some of them you cannot duplicate it. We looked at a few types of things that you cannot duplicate. Maybe it's your history. Maybe certain, in your company, you have a certain, corporate culture, which is difficult to copy. The culture that AeAsia is difficult to copy into MAS. Susah. Because the culture comes from where? Where does the culture of a company come from? Where do you think the culture of a company? And every company has got a culture, right? Do you agree with me? Every company has got a culture. Like song,
yes, I agree.
Okay, you're on semiconductor, you have a certain culture. You move from this company to another company, you find the culture is changed. Am I right now, Deva?
Yes.
Right, different culture will be there, right? Now, where does the culture come from?
From the people there, from the employees.
Okay, where do the employees get it from? They
No.
get it from somewhere.
From their experience.
Is it from the experience? Where do you think it comes from, the corporate culture?
From CEO.
Yes, in a way, yes and no lah. Okay. Now, what happens is, you're right actually, Dora, in the sense that the entrepreneur is the one who builds the culture of the company. Okay? The entrepreneur builds the culture. So, for example, in Steve Jobs, he built the culture of the organization so that everybody is very innovative, very creative. He develops people in that way. And that kind of a culture is what actually is infused into their entire organization, and that's how the staff get the culture, right? Okay. Now the CEO, when you come, when you move into one company, another company, the most difficult thing to adjust is the culture. Most difficult part of the thing is the culture, because culture is so ingrained. It's like the DNA of the company itself, like, very difficult. So normally when when you become a CEO, you go from one company to another company. Yeah, the biggest challenge you will have is changing the culture. The first thing that you need to do, let's say for example tomorrow you have an opportunity for moving from one company to another company. First thing that you need to do is changing the culture of the company. Okay, for example, Nissan, Nissan, right? Nissan in 1990 almost went bankrupt, because they are very bad in their business and things like that. They couldn't compete, their products are not very good, right? So what happened was Nissan, they recruited somebody from Renault, Renault company, because Renault and Nissan had some kind of a partnership deal. So they recruited what do you call a French Brazilian guy, his name is Carlos Ghosn. I don't know whether you know him, Carlos Ghosn. He recruited them to become the CEO of a Japanese company. This is the first time in the history of Japanese company where the CEO is non-Japanese. When he came in, what he did, the first thing is he changed the culture of the Japanese. Okay, change the culture, the way they think, the way they work, and so it is very difficult for very difficult to change is the culture, right? So once you change the culture, then the business became very big, already, right? I like to share the story of Tony Fernandez, right? When Tony Fernandez first bought the airline, actually what happened was he was looking to buy an airline. So when he bought the airline, what do you call the AeU? AeU, actually, he didn't start, it was actually already existing in AeU. And you know who owned AeU or not? You talk about Sapper. Faisal, do you know who owned AeU or not last time?
Don't know.
Your old company, like DRB Highcom.
Oh.
Okay, so DRB Highcom owned AeU. And nama pun AeU juga, is it? So when he wanted to start an airline, that time Prime Minister was our Mahathir lah. He told Mahathir, I want to open up an airline. Then Mahathir told him, okay, you want to open up an airline? I cannot give you license, but you go and buy an airline, he said. So if you want to buy an airline, you got to go and buy those who are not doing well, So he called Berjaya. Berjaya, he said very bad. He looked at all the numbers. Tony Fernandez is an accountant, So he looked at all the numbers and then he found, oh, they're not very good. Then he looked at what he call this fellow, what is his name? AeU. So he called up DRB Highcom and said, I want to buy your airline. And they were like, oh, yeah. Oh, because they were not making money. They were making the losses like crazy. So they said, okay, can come and buy. So he went and talked to them and all that. And he bought the airline for how much? How much did he buy the airline for?
ringgit.
1 ringgit. We bought it for 1 ringgit. 1 ringgit we bought the
1 ringgit with the hutang.
Hutang, yes. So, right. Okay, the hutang was 40 million. Of course, you buy it for 1 ringgit, but you have 40 million to pay back. So, Tony Fernandez at that time did not have money, right? Okay, we're going to look at this all about funding and all that later on, right? So, he didn't have money. So, what he did, this thing, his house, refinanced his house, got 1 million here and there. And then he went to the bank, and told them that give me some time, 2 years, 3 years, I will settle the loan, He started running the business, okay? And at that time, when we bought AeU, they had only 2 planes, How many planes they had? How many planes did they have? Only 2 planes only, okay? And they had 8 staff, 8 workers, 2 pilots, and others are, what do you call, something like, air hostess, those people who handle the thing, administration line, okay? So the first day he went to, after buying the company, first day he went to the office line, okay? So he went to the office, he was talking to all of them, and then he saw in the office got 2 doors, Dua pintu, right? So normally in your house you have only 1 pintu, kan, isn't it? Right? So sini ada 2 pintu. So he asked the admin staff, hey, why you have 2 doors here in the office? And then the office staff said, oh, this one because 1 door is only for pilot to enter, The other door is like orang semua, Right? Then he looked at it and said, hey, this is not right, So what he did, he called the people and break the door. And he said, 1 door only, So the next day, the pilot come to the office, and say, hey, where's my door? What happened to my door, So they're very angry, Say, what happened? My door is gone already, Then is when Tony Fernandez said, okay, is this now onwards, there's only going to be 1. Everybody is the same. There's no pilot separate, everybody is all going to be the same. And that was the culture that he started the company in from that timeline. Think about 10, 15 years ago, they started the company. And that culture is what is put into the company. Now, everybody don't call him boss, they call him Tony only. That's he insists that everybody call him Tony. No need to call me boss or sir or whatever, that's the kind of, and the structure is very flat structure that they have. Okay, easy for them to manage. And when you have a flat structure, easy to turn around, your business, very fast you can do it because few level. But if you have many level, you tell to your second, third, fourth, by the time the whole thing change, business is already changing already. Because today we are living in a very dynamic situation. Dynamic means that you're going to tukar cepat though. Business going to have to change. And the pandemic has actually taught us that nothing is going to be there forever. Things are going to change all the time. So the word dynamic, business is very dynamic, right? So that's the thing. So this is a story about culture, how culture plays a very important role. Okay, let's move on. So culture is also something that you cannot, it's a resource, that is also a resource that is non-substitutable. Okay, 6 types of resource: physical, reputation, organization, financial, intellectual, and technological. Okay, now we looked at 2 different ways to start a business, the entrepreneur. One is you decide to start a company and look for opportunity. Or you can be like Uber, look at an opportunity and then open a company. Recognize an opportunity and then you open a company. Okay, so 2 different ways of how you do it. Okay, if we looked at innovation, 3 different types, 3 approaches. One is have a problem and seek a solution. That means you look at a problem and then look for a solution. Like example of Polaroid. Okay, next is to have a solution and seek a problem. Like 3M. They got a solution but don't know what to use it for. Then only they thought, oh, this is an idea. They came up with the idea and the post-it note was actually was commercialized. And then identify a need and develop a solution. That means, like, for example, you identify a need and then you develop a solution for it. Like Dyson. That means he was frustrated with the way the product is, and then he wanted something better. And then from there, he developed into become an entrepreneur. So this is what makes people into entrepreneurs now. Okay, and then opportunity, how do you assess it? You have assessed it in different areas: resources, capability, okay, competitive advantage, strategy, and feedback. 5 areas in which you assess it. Okay. All right, is that clear? Guys, is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, okay.
So now we go into today's lesson. Today we're going to look at chapter 7 to chapter 11. Okay. Now, chapter 7 is talking about strategic businessman. Okay. Now, remember we looked at this. As an entrepreneur, first thing what do? We look at the opportunity. Okay. Remember, we evaluate the opportunity, identify the opportunity, and evaluate the opportunity. Then you need to develop a business plan. Then you have look at the resources. Then you manage the enterprise. Okay. So now we're going to look at what is a business plan, because business plan is important part of the thing. Now we're going to look at why is it you need a business plan. What is a business plan? Why you need a business plan, and who needs a business plan? So these are areas of it. Now, what is a business plan? So I ask you, what is a business plan? What is a business plan? What do you think is a business plan? If I tell you a word business plan, some of you would have come across it. Some maybe don't know what is it. What do you think is a business plan?
Ideas that you put in a paperwork.
Okay, your ideas you put in a paperwork. Okay, good. All right. Someone, what do you think is it? What other thing is a business plan?
Somehow there is some strategy to make it the business run good.
Okay, your strategies for the business. Okay, yeah. That's a business plan. Okay, good. Money, what do you think is a business plan?
I think what the goals you're going to achieve when you set up a company or
the goals you have to set up.
Goals.
Okay, good. I mean, whatever you're saying is correct, because whatever you're saying is all inside the business plan line. Okay. So all right. So anybody else? What is the business plan?
Focus for our budget. Budgeting.
Okay, it's a budget. You're right. It's also budgeting. Okay. Now, so those who started a business, I'm sure you have done a business plan. Vince, have you done a business plan before?
Yeah, sir.
Huh?
Yeah.
You've done a business plan,
yeah.
Right? So normally before you go start a business, you have to do a business plan, because a business plan will give you a clearer picture of your business. Because sometimes you have an idea, very good idea. I want to do that, But when you do a business plan, then only you will know whether what are the problems you're going to have, what are the challenges, what are the risks you're going to have, what are the kind of money you really, we think, we calculate, I need 20,000, 30,000 boleh buat lah, boleh buka lah, we think like that, But when you start doing it, macam renovation tau. Kalau rumah you renovate, you kira 50,000 tapi lepas 100,000 akan lari. All have experience, right, isn't it? Right. So this is what happens. We think, we say, 20,000, 30,000 can renovate the house line. But then by the time your ABS has become 60,000. This is the experience everybody has.
Correct.
So a business plan is like that. We think, 20,000 can start a business lah, boleh buka ke type. Then after that you calculate back, you're sort of a lot gone off already. So a business plan will help you to come up with the proper, what you call, plan of the entire business. Okay?
Strategy.
Strategy is one of it lah. Okay, by this chapter you learn what is a business plan, who prepare it, who read it, and how it's evaluated. Okay, you're going to look at the scope and the value of a business plan. Okay, to investors, lenders, and all that, and then what are the information you need. Okay, all right. Now definition. What is a business plan? A business plan is a written document that serves as a blueprint and a guide for the proposed business that you take to undertake. So that is going to be a guide. It's going to be a blueprint for your success. Now, business plan is very important because one of the things that I learned, actually, to tell you the truth, when I did my MBA many years ago, one of the things that was very new that I learned is a business plan. Because if you learn how to do a business plan, an actual business plan, you can make money because you can actually do for people. You do for somebody else a business plan, you can make money doing that. So this is something that I've made money from, in doing a business from people. Right? Now, the information that you gather is to predict the viability. What do you mean by viability? What do you mean by viability? The word. Anybody? Okay, take down this word, viability. Viability means whether the business is possible, can make money or not. All right? Can you make money? Is it viable? If somebody asks you, is a business, is it viable? They meaning what? Viable means, can you make money or not? So not all businesses you can make money. Some looks like a good idea, but you can't make money from it. So is it viable? So to see whether the business can be viable. Second is a forecast of success. You've got a plan how much you want to do, how much you can do. What is your actual success going to be? And then propose strategies, coming up with strategies for the project or the business line, right? So this is a business plan. Okay. Now today business environments are dynamic. Remember the word dynamic. What is dynamic? Remember I showed you what is dynamic. What is dynamic? Dennis, what is dynamic?
Process. It's a content change activity.
Process of system.
It's a flexibility.
When I use the word dynamic, what does it mean?
It's a flexibility. It's movable.
Yeah. Dynamic means changing. All right. Write down the word dynamic. Okay. Take down a piece of paper. Write down the word dynamic. Okay. Use this when you're talking to people. When you're writing emails, please use this word. Remember, I told you all that, as an MBA student, there are only two things that happen to you, Two things. Some of your new students. What are the two things, Selvi? Maybe Selvi will know. It doesn't mean that you end up you become Selvi MBA, What are the things that change? Two things.
The structure of our vocabulary and the sentence itself, the way that we talk to people.
Yes.
And then then the perspective, the way that we're thinking is a bit differently.
Very good. Okay, two things. First is your thinking has to change. All right. As an MBA student, we are studying MBA. Why? Because some of the subjects they're studying you already know. Some is like common sense to you, but it must change the way you think. That's important. That's the reason why in my lectures I ask questions, ask you to think. You must change the way you think. So when you're sitting in the table across your boss, the way you think, your boss will look at it and say, "Wow, this fella different. The way they think." Then they won't let you go. Okay, the only way you can get a higher salary is by adding value. Remember we talked about marketing, right? If you want to improve yourself, add value. How do you add value? The way you think has to be different. Then your boss will look at and see, oh, this person are very clever, the way they think are different. Like, okay? So the way you think has to change. And number two is what? Your language also has to change. When you talk, when you write, an MBA student must write like an MBA, talk like an MBA. See? Because you studied MBA, but when you talk, you're talking like a diploma student. So this doesn't mean anybody goes, because the content you're learning is more or less similar. Diploma student also learn about entrepreneurship. You also are learning entrepreneurship, is it? So what's the difference, Okay, so your level of studying is higher. That means, for example, you go deeper into your studies, is it? So your language has to change. So you must use the word dynamic. So tomorrow when you're writing an email or you're talking to your boss, or writing a report, use the word dynamic. The things are dynamic. It means changing all the things. The business environment today are dynamic, complex, and subject to continual change. In order to gain and retain sustainable competitive advantage, we need to have a good plan. Okay, and business plan is something not you do one time and then you forget it. It's something that you got to keep changing. It's a live document which you, from time to time, you got to update it. And even those who are already doing a business now, for example, like means you're already doing a business, you need to have a business plan again, and look and see whether you need to change anything or not. Business plan is not one time you do and finish it off. You have to keep changing it, because now your business model, another word, business model. When you ask what's your business model means you're talking about what is your plan, where you're making the money. That's called a business model. So business model also keeps changing from time to time, right? So you have to do that. Okay. All right. So then let's look at business plan now. Okay. Watch this video on business plan. And write down the 6 steps to a business plan. Watch this video and write down what are the steps to write a business plan. Now, later we're going to look at 12 different parts, 11 parts of a business plan now. But this is basically the 6 steps in the main area of a business plan.
Starting a business, then you'll need a plan, a roadmap, taking you on the straightest, fastest route to where you want to go. Your business plan will include 6 sections and will help you think through your business idea, making sure you've covered all the angles and eventualities before you set off. The first section is the executive summary, presenting an overview of your business. This section is vital as many investors make judgments about your business based on it alone. A great tip is to leave this section until last to write. Once you've written the others, you'll find it easier to do, as it will be a summary of the key points you make in other sections. So start with your business details. Provide a short description of who you are, what you plan to sell, why and to whom. Include the location of your business, identify key employees, and any other qualities that make your business stand out. Now enter your marketing and sales strategy. Show that you've done your homework, that you understand your target market. Outline why you think people will buy what you want to sell and detail how you plan to sell to them. Then add in your management team and personnel. People reading your plan need to believe and have trust in the management of your business. So outline your credentials and the people you plan to recruit. Then detail your setup, explaining what facilities the business will have, from your premises to your management information systems and IT, and explain how it will deliver the product or service to the customer. Lastly, list your financial plan and projections. This part translates everything you've said in the previous sections into numbers. It will tell you whether the business will be worthwhile or whether you're wasting your time and/or money. Your business plan will change as your business grows. It'll help keep you focused, so you'll know where you are and where you're supposed to be, so that you can correct your course as needed. Here are our 5 top tips. Keep it brief. If it takes too long to write, it'll take too long to read. Get rid of the fluff, cut the waffle, and just get to the point. Be realistic. Be honest and note all the challenges facing your business. Use visuals. Graphs, charts, and images can help bring your idea to life. And be creative so that your business stands out and grabs attention. And for a bit of extra help, download a business plan template from the Business Wales website. So there you have it. Plan your route to make sure you reach your destination.
What is?
Okay, so what are the different parts of a business plan? You watch the video, right? What are the different parts of a business plan? So a business plan is a blueprint, a guide for a business. Okay? What's the direction the business has to go? Okay, what are the different parts? The last year, normally assignment will be a business plan, but this time there's no business plan in the assignment line. The previous years, I think what we have to do is the students have to do a complete business plan for business, right? But this time they did not put the business plan there. But I think some parts of it is there in the whole entire assignment. Okay. Now, what are the different parts of a business plan? Selvi?
The details of the brand, location, and all of that.
Now, what are the different sections?
First is executive summary.
Well, very good. First is the executive summary. Okay, executive summary is a short portion, is a summary of the entire plan. Okay, that means it's 1 page, 2 page kind of thing, is it? And it'll tell you in short what is the whole entire plan all about. Okay, good. Then next is what?
Marketing and sales strategy.
Details.
Yeah, Selvi?
The details, business details.
What details? Business details.
The brand, location.
Yeah, the business details, what is the location of a company, with the key employees, and stuff like that. So business details, where are you going to start the thing, next, let's look at Nazri. What's the next one?
Marketing strategy.
Yeah, marketing strategy. You come up with what is the product, what is your 4 Ps, how you're going to sell your product, who is going to sell, what is your target customer. All that comes under the marketing plan line. All right. Next, let's go. Faisal. What's the next one?
Executive summary tadi? Dah.
Executive dah what? The
Financial.
Financial, yes, no doubt. Okay, the financial part of it. Okay, the financial comes at the end, right? Now, financial is important. Why? Why is the financial important, you think?
Because turn everything to the figures.
Yes. You see, this financial is a projection, because now you haven't started the business yet. Belum start lagi business today. You're only projecting the, what do you call it? In the financial, what are the different statements you have in the financial? Okay, some of you have done accounting. Selvi, have done accounting already, is it? Finish already. What's that? Anybody have done accounting subject?
Next sem, sir.
Next sem. Anybody, nobody done accounting yet, is it?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay.
No,
Now accounting is very useful. Vince, you know accounting, right?
Yeah, a bit, sir.
A bit lah. Okay. Now, one of the key things as an entrepreneur, you need to understand account. Understand means no need to do accounts lah, but you look at the account, you're able to understand what is going on. I think that's very important lah, right? Now, in all my studies in my MBA, one of the subjects that really was difficult and the most useful is accounting. Okay. If you're going to study accounting next semester, please focus and study it very well, because accounting is going to be very useful for you. Very useful for you in your work, even though you're not going to do accounts, because in your MBA, you are actually looking at a business from the top, you are understanding how accounting plays a very important role. You must understand today, most of the CEO of the top companies are from which background? All the CEO from top companies. All from
accounting. Finance, yeah.
Finance, account. You look at Tony Fernandez. You look at everybody lah. You just out of 10 top companies in Malaysia, 5 of them are sure from, or even 7 of them are all from accounting background. Like Maybank, the top guy, also is an accounting guy. Everybody is an accounting kind of person. Why is it the accounting? Because accounting is very important, but that is where you will learn about what they call the business processes and things like that. So you will learn there are 3 different statements that you need, for what you call accounting, right? Okay, now I will show you that later when you cover that. Okay, good. Accounting. Next is what? What's the next one?
The management team and
Management people.
Management team. All right. Okay, and then the last one?
Setup.
business setup.
Business setup. How is the business setup? They mean the operation, how the operation of the business is, how are you going to do that, where you're going to make the product, where you're going to get the raw material from, how you're going to process it, and how you're going to deliver it, so that's called the business setup, how the process is going to be so that's the whole entire, what you call, plan of a business. Okay, now that's a business plan. Okay, now
What is a business plan? In order to know what a business plan is, you have to know what a business plan isn't. A business plan isn't a document that you write once and never look at again. In fact, it doesn't have to be a document at all. But it's also not a bunch of scribbles and buzzwords you wrote on the back of a napkin at happy hour with your friends. Business plans aren't just for loan applications, they're not just for first-time startups, and they're not just for business school students. And most importantly, a business plan doesn't have to follow a one-size-fits-all formula. So let's talk about what a business plan is. A business plan is living and breathing, able to change and be flexible. Any startups or existing businesses can and should make use of a business plan. In its simplest form, a business plan is a guide that outlines goals for your business and how you plan to reach them. It contains an overview of your business strategy, milestones to track tasks and responsibilities, and the basic financial projections you need to forecast your sales, expenses, and cash flow. A standard or traditional business plan typically includes an executive summary, products and services, a market analysis summary, a strategy and implementation summary, a company and management summary, a financial plan, and maybe an appendix. To see a detailed business plan outline, click the link in the description below.
Okay, so these are basic ideas. So but the key things in these are the 5 main, 6 areas of a business plan line. All right. Now, the benefit of a business plan, number 1 is it helps the entrepreneur to view the business critically. When you write a business plan, the entrepreneur can look at the business and see whether really you can do it or not. So when you're planning it properly, step by step, what's going to happen like that, you can actually see what are the challenges that you can have, and you can look at it holistically, right? Second benefit is when you do a business, there are a lot of assumptions you make. Right, isn't it? A lot of assumption. For example, if let's say I want to sell bubble tea in, let's say I want to open up a bubble tea business in Seremban, let's say, so now I am assuming what? I'm assuming that people like to drink bubble tea. Am I right? Isn't it true or not? Okay, so I'm assuming that young people they like to eat bubble tea. So that's assumption. So most businesses, when you start with a particular assumption. Now, if the assumption is correct or not, we really do not know. So it helps you to look at your assumption and see whether is it really correct or not. Okay, so that means not all people are going to drink bubble tea, so that's how you look at the assumption. And third, what it helps is because all aspect of business must be addressed in the plan, entrepreneur must develop operational strategies and expected results. That means you write down every part of the business, whether marketing, operational, finance, everything is you write it down in a business plan, and you can actually see what the result is going to come like, right? Number 4, okay, it provide a benchmark to measure with the actual result. That means, for example, if you have already projected in the first year of my business, I'm going to do 1 million sales. Second year, I'm going to do 2 million. Then I'm going to do 3 million sales. If you have actually put a target like that in your business plan, and this can be a check and balance or benchmark for you. So when you're really running the business, the actual result you can compare and see, have I reached my mark or not? Okay, so it could be a kind of thing to compare your actual results. And it's also a communication tools for financial sources. For example, you want to get a loan. Okay, let's say you want to go to the bank. Let's say you want to go to the bank and you want to borrow some money. You want to open up a business. Let's say, give me an example of a business. What business shall we do? What business can we do? Give me Nazri idea, business opportunity idea. What business can we do?
Courier business.
Okay, good. Well, very good. Courier business. Because today now, courier, everybody's into couriers and things like that, right? Isn't it? So courier business is one of the fastest growing business today. Right. So let's say we want to open up a courier business. Okay. So maybe we need 100,000 to set up. the courier business. So what do? You go to the bank and tell them, hey, okay, who is in the bank? RHP, okay, who's in RHP? Our two girls from RHP. You go to RHP bank and tell them, Noni, okay, I want to borrow 100,000, you know. So what your bank will tell you? Noni, what will the bank tell you?
Bring your
We have to get the document from customer, gather all the information.
Okay, so you say, okay, what information you need, Noni?
Mostly we need the financial statement from previous years.
Okay, ini baru.
Indication that is
I'm starting a courier business, you know, is it? So I don't have any loan. I'm not getting a loan like that, lah. You know, I'm going to start a new business, so I need to get money from the bank, lah. You know. So what will you do?
Mostly our customer have to reach business established more than 5 years to get the loan.
Okay, that means I cannot get loan lah macam tu.
Yes, for RHB Bank. Not yet.
Okay, all right. Now this is a challenge that many people will have, right? Okay, so we'll cover that when we talk about the finance part, lah. The next another chapter on that. Okay. Now most banks, when you go and ask them for money to start a business, they say, "Hey, what is your track record?" No track record. Sorry. Or if they ask you to take your house and put in down payment, you know, then only I'll give you money. That's the thing they will tell you to do. Yes. All right. So they ask for collateral. That's called collateral, right? Now, so basically, you know, whenever you go to any fund, okay, so what I do now, I take my idea and I go to see somebody else, like, you know, for example, money. Let's say money got a lot of money, like, you know, okay, let's say money has got a lot of money. You got a few $1 million lying around. So I go to him and say, Mr. Money, I need to borrow some money because I want to start this business, like, you know, the courier business. Like. So what will you ask me?
Pardon?
If let's say, for example, I go to Mr. Money, because bank now reject me already, is it? So now I go to somebody, as an investor, and ask him, I need some money, like, you know. So what will you ask me?
What is your plan?
What's your business plan?
What is your plan?
Okay, correct. You will ask, Dennis will ask, okay, what's your plan? What do you want to do? That's not right, isn't it? What do you want to do? Right. So I want to do a courier business, like, you know, is it? If I tell you I want to do a courier business, what will you tell me, Dennis?
How much budget?
I will ask, what is your strategy and what is your, who are you going to market?
Okay, who are you going to market to? And then you'll ask me why I need 100,000, right? Isn't it?
Yes, correct.
Where is the money going? You want to know where you're going to put the money, right? Isn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
The reason why you need a business plan. So in your business plan, you've got a detailed plan of the whole entire thing. I'm starting a courier business, where I'm going to start, how am I going to start, who are the people who are going to work with me, how am I going to operate it, you know, and what is my projected sales? Because you're going to look at projected sales, right? First year, how much I'm going to make, how much I'm going to. So as an investor, you want to look at what? What's your purpose? Why are you lending the money, Dennis? Why are you lending me the money?
I will look at your plan and what's so different with others.
No, yeah, okay, that's you look at the plan, right? The purpose of you doing this is what? What is the purpose of you lending me money for the business?
I want to make sure my money is not throwing into the sea.
And you are going to get some profit, maybe, right? Isn't it?
Possible for the return.
And you want to return because I put in my money. I put 100,000 in the bank. The bank is giving me how much? Noni, how much is the interest rate now, bank? FD?
FD 2.35.
2.35 only they're giving you. So if I take 100,000 and I put in the bank, somebody can give me 10%. Well, in 1 year, am I happy or not? Oh, I'm happy. That's very good, right? So that's the reason why I'm lending the money, you know, into the business project. Okay. So you are an investor. So I want to know the business plan. So that's the reason. So number 5, we look is a communication tool for outside financial sources. See? So, and also to guide you on the success. So this is the reason you have business plan. Now, when you write a business plan, there are 3 perspectives. They mean the way you look at it. Perspective of the entrepreneur. They mean you should clearly articulate what the venture is all about. Okay. Because as an entrepreneur, you might think the idea is very good, but when you put in paper, then only you know, alamak, stupid fella. I say, why I go write all this, you know, cannot make money, you know, is it? Marketing perspective, they mean you see it from the eyes of the customer. They mean you must see from the customer. Do you think the customer will like this service that I'm offering? I'm giving what do you call courier service. Do you think they are going to like it or not? Is there a need for this kind of thing, is it? You have to look at it from that point, is it? And then you got to look at it from the investor. like Dennis is now, right? He's going to invest money into the business. So I must look at it. If I'm an investor, I look at this. Do I think I can make back my money? You know, or am I throwing my money into the rubbish or not? I have to look at it that way, right? So three different perspectives when you look at the business plan. Okay. Now, who is the business plan is for whom? Okay, so these are the people. It's for the investor. Okay, investors are interested in what? Cash flow. They want to see whether money is coming in or not. I invest 100,000. I don't want to go back every few months and then give him back some more money. Come to you and say, hey, I want some more money, boss. Cukup lah, tara cukup lah, We don't want that, right? Isn't it? So we want to know whether it's a cash flow or not, The bank wants to know, because they lend you some money, so they want to know whether they can get back the this thing or not. So supplier of capital, they mean the lenders, suppliers of capital, they mean lender, or venture capitals. They want to know whether before you sign a contract, whether this plan you can make money or not. Okay. Next is customers. Customers also maybe sometimes want to review the plan before buying a product. Okay, so these are for big customers, like huge. We were dealing with big clients. They will want to know your business plan, not the small customers, right? Suppliers. Now, suppliers sometimes want to give you credit, right? So the supplier want to know, okay, you're doing what? What business are you doing? Okay, I want to open up a courier business. I need some computers, So you go to the supplier and tell them, hey, I want computer, So he will look and see, I give you 30-day credit, can or not? This fella can make money, this business is good or not, So then only, for example, in Seremban, your computer is Taihing, isn't it? The famous Taihing, right? So they want to know whether you can supply computer to you. Are you going to run away? The business going to close, or maybe the business is good or not? So they want to look at that. So supplier also want to know, right? Okay. Now we're going to look at the components of the business plan. This is based on your notes that has been given by the university, right? But this is basically the complete idea of a business plan, right? Okay. First is the introductory page. Introductory page means is the title. It gives you the name and address of the business, nature of the business, all that is in the introductory heading, is the title page, all right? Okay, second is the executive summary. Once you open the cover, is the executive summary. Open up the thing, executive summary is there. Okay, now remember, executive summary is the first part of your business plan. It'll be only 2 or 3 pages summarizing the complete business plan. It's just a summary of the business plan, right? Now, when do you write the executive summary? When should you write the executive summary?
The end of your business plan.
Very good. Okay. You write only after you write everything, then only you do the executive summary, because it's a summary of your plan. So you have to write it only at the end of the whole thing. So it should be short. Now, executive summary is very important because why? Most investors will only read this one only. They're not going to read your thick whole entire business plan. They're not interested in that. They just want to know, okay, let's say for example, I am coming to Dennis and I have a business plan saying that I want to open up a courier business, right? And I need 100,000. So in the executive summary, one look you will see, what is this business, courier business? Okay, where is it going to be based? Who is your customer? What is your business? How much turnover going to be there in 1 year? How much money you're going to make? How much profit? That's all I want to know. If I look at it and see, oh, okay, can make money. All right, enough. Then I will give it to somebody else to read, my accountant to read the inside part. Okay. So executive summary is very important. It must be interesting and fun and short, and it should give you the whole picture, like a gamba picture, of the whole entire plan line. Right. Next is the industry analysis. You're going to look at the industry. Okay, now let's say we're starting a courier company. We look at the future outlook. We look at e-commerce becoming booming. A lot of people are buying products online, and courier and it's becoming a challenge. And sometimes courier companies are not able to take care of the package. Today, my wife is showing me on picture. The courier company buang your barang on the roof, So I have something I ordered, 1 week I haven't received the thing yet, So she's telling me your thing is on the roof, maybe they throw it somewhere, So that means there's a huge market for courier companies, So you will look at the future outlook, trend, analysis of competitor, look who are the competitors are there in the market, you have nature of the business, industry and market force. So in the industry analysis, you are doing the research about the future trend of the business, description of the venture. That means you talk about the product, the service, the size of the business, office equipment, background, entrepreneur, all that is there, okay? Then it's a production plan. I mean, how is the production going to be? If it's a product, if it's a service, okay, how is the process of it? How am I going to collect the, if I'm doing a courier service, how am I going to collect? How I'm going to process it, how I'm going to arrange it, and how I'm going to arrange to deliver the thing, is it? So who are the people who supply materials to me? You know, all these things are what I write down there, is it? Maybe I need a car, I need a lorry, I need to do that. All those information come under the production plan. Then the operation plan, okay? How the flow of goods, okay? How the technology is being utilized, is it? All those part of it is the operational plan, okay? Next is the marketing plan. Now, marketing plan is a part of the whole entire business plan. So in the marketing plan, you talk about the 4P. Yeah? What is the pricing I want to sell? What is my distribution? How am I going to distribute? Maybe I got agent, you know, is it, to collect my, what they call this thing. What am I going to promote it? Advertising, where I'm going to put TV, radio, or internet, you know. How am I going to advertise, promotion? Huh? Then I will look at product forecast. And then maybe I need to change my product, you know, controls, you know. All these are in the marketing plan. You talk about it. Organizational plan. Okay, now you talk about the company. You talk about the form of ownership. Is a public, is a, if it's a Sendirian Berhad, how many shareholder, you know, what are the partners, what are the principals who are running the company. Then the management team. Now, a lot of companies, investors will look at the management team, you know. They're not idea of the business is good, but who is managing it is the more important thing, you know. They look at the management team. Remember, we talked about resource. The people are resource, you know, right? So if you've been working in Asia for many years, you know, and then you start a company dealing with this kind of what do you call in the relevant thing, then these people are valuable to us because they have got experience. Roles and responsibilities. These are the things in the organization plan. Then is the contingency plan. Okay, sometimes you add this. Contingency plan is, for example, what are the weakness of the business? Okay. New technology. What do you think is the weakness of courier business? What do you think is the weakness of courier business? Deva?
Delay in sending the products.
Okay, delay in sending the product. Someone, what else can it be? If you do a SWOT, you know, this, what else can be a problem?
Operational dispatch.
Dispatch, operational, okay. People maybe never come to work, strike, you know. I think recently there was some company who got strike, right? Which one is it? One Korea company got strike.
JNT.
JNT, yeah, recently, yeah. My friend was telling me the other day he wanted to open up a JNT, they got franchise, you know. So he was telling me, hey, Frank, when you look at JNT, I think I want to buy the franchise. Can you go and study the business thing, you know, is it? After 1 week, he said, hey, JNT got strike, I don't want, you know, he told me like that, okay. So, you know, so the Korean business has got its problems also, right, isn't it? So you must tell out what are the weaknesses that can happen. You have to be very clear and genuine, no, you don't bluff, okay. And then the financial plan, okay. Now, financial plans are important because why? You haven't started the business yet, but you can have projection, okay. You can calculate one day how many courier I'm going to take, okay, how much I'm going to charge, you know, what is my profit going to be, what is my cost going to be, is it? What is my, what do you call, thing, what's the end of the day, what, after all my cost, what's my profit going to be, is it? That'll tell you in the thing. Now, there are 3 statements that are very important. Write this down somewhere. 3 statements that are very important. Okay, 3 statements are important. Okay, first is the income statement. Look at this one. Income statement. What is the income statement? Cash flow statement, and then you have the, balance sheet. You know, right? 3 things are very important. Okay. Now, as an MBA student, you need to understand these 3 things: income statement, cash flow statement, and balance sheet. You know, right? Now, these 3 statements are very important for any business to understand. So maybe anybody can give me a little bit idea about this. What is the income statement?
Profit and loss statement of a company.
Okay, very good. It's called a P&L. Another word name is P&L. A P&L will tell you what? A P&L, or profit and loss, will tell you whether the company is making a profit or not. Okay, profit means, how do you calculate profit? Sales minus the what? Cost. Expenses, you know, will give you the profit, right? So, sales is not all thing. You have to, you got to minus off all your costs that you have. So, a profit and loss statement or income statement will tell you how much, you know, you made the, what do you call, profit for the month. Now, income statement can be monthly, can be annual also. Every month you can do, or you can do for the whole year also, okay? All right, that's one. Second is the cash flow statement. Okay, cash flow. What is a cash flow statement? What is the cash flow statement? Anybody?
Expenditure.
Yeah, Faisal?
Expenditure.
No. It's not only expenditure, but it's the flow of money into your company. For example, when you collect money from customer, right? You collect the money and come into your company, right? Cash come inside, right? And then what you pay out to the salary, you pay here, pay there, and then end of the day, what? How much balance cash is there, net cash in your account, you know? That is called the cash flow. For example, you get salary. Let's say your salary is 10,000 a month, okay? That is cash coming into your bank account. And then you spend money for what? Car payment, house payment, rental, loan, this, that, all these kind of things you pay out, you know, education loan, this, that, or the children, food, all that you take out. At the end of the month, how much money you have? How much money do you have in the end of the month? Okay. For example, Nazri, how much you have end of the month in the account? Teva, how much do they have? Okay, if it's positive, it's very good. You know, a lot of times it's, you know, almost negative like that, right? Isn't it? So that's called a cash flow statement. A cash flow tells you what is the flow of cash. So when you do a projection, you will know, if you say, I'm investing in the company, I'll know this guy, end of the day, is he got enough money or not? After that, after 2 months, he's going to run to me and say, oh, Mr. Investor, I need some more money, you know. So a cash flow statement will tell you whether the company can have enough cash or not, right? That's the cash flow statement, right? And the third is what? A balance sheet, okay? You need the balance sheet. What is a balance sheet?
It shows the assets, liability, and equity of
company asset, liability, and a shareholder equity.
Okay, very good. All right. So what do you call cash flow statement also is done for every month. You can do a cash flow every month or every year, so you can do like, you know, a balance sheet will tell you asset and liability of the company. Asset means what is the asset the company has. Asset could be what? You have fixed asset. You have what? Fixed and
current asset.
What is it?
Current asset.
Current assets. Sorry, suddenly forgot. So you have current assets and you have fixed assets, right? Fixed assets are those like, for example, you know, property, for example, equipment. All that is fixed asset, which means you cannot sell in short term. You know, they mean you cannot sell and make money immediately, like, you know. So that's called, what do you call? That's called fixed asset. Okay. Then you have current assets. Current assets are those that you can actually sell it and make money quickly, like, you know. For example, current assets could be amount of money in your bank, FD maybe, okay, or it could even be inventory. You have inventory, belum jual lagi, that's also called current assets, right? Okay, so asset minus the liability. What is liability? When I say liability, what does it mean? What is liability?
Whatever the company needs to pay back, like the creditors.
Yes, what you need to pay back to them. Again, you have long-term liability, and then you also have current liability. Long-term means loans. You pay for 10 years, you take loan for a thing, you pay back the, what do you call this thing. Then you have current liability, which you need to pay immediately or within 30 days, maybe, like, for example, supplier, you take credit, you know, you need to pay back. Once the thing comes, after 30 days, you will pay back. That's called current. So asset minus the liability. So at what is your current level is what you look at. Now, a balance sheet, you do it for a particular period of time. They mean like today, tomorrow, what date, you know, is it? So it's like a snapshot. It's like a picture. When I take a picture of you, you know, with, let's say, for example, today your hair is like this, you know, I take a picture. Tomorrow your hair is different, you know, you take a picture, it's different. So a balance sheet is like a snapshot of the company at that particular time, you know, because asset and liability will change from time to time, right? Isn't it? So that's called the thing. So this is called a balance sheet. Now, why is it you need all the three? Why do you need all three? What do you call statement? Why don't look at the profit and loss only? Why don't you look at the profit and loss only? Anybody? Why you need three statements?
Because we need to see the financial level as a whole. It's not only focusing on the profit and loss, but we also need to see how's the movement of the cash, and then end of the day we also need to see the balance sheet between from our invoice, our orders and so on. Otherwise, we cannot justify. Let's say if we want to request for 100,000, we cannot justify why we need 100,000.
Okay. All right. True. Because you cannot look at one statement and tell you the thing. Just like when you go for a checkup, you know, they do a few blood tests, right? Isn't it? You just do one test, cannot tell you the story, whole story. You have to do few, right? Isn't it? Because sometimes the company can be making a profit, but maybe got no cash. How is that possible? Is it possible a company is profitable but got no money? Is it possible?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Okay, so you remember this statement, we'll look at it later also, like, you know, profit is not cash, you know. Profit is not cash. You see, because you can actually sell products on credit and that can be counted as profit, you know, you see? But it is not cash in your account. So if I tell you my company is very profitable, you know, you see, but then I need money. You're asking me why you're still very profit, when, why you need money, you know, because your cash flow statement will tell you the actual story, where your money is there. Okay, so very important. So this is, I'm spending a little bit of time on this because this is very key things, you know. And next semester when you all are studying about accounting, please learn this thing because it's very important for you. You see, as an MBA student, you no need to do all these things, how to do the thing, you know, but you must be able to look at an income statement and understand the company good or not. Look at all three statements, and then from the statement, you'll analyze and you can find out whether the company is making money or not making money. Is it? How can we improve? You can actually do that, right? And then you have, after this, you got the break-even analysis. These analyses are there. Break-even means to see where, how much the minimum sales we have so we don't make a loss, right? So this is a break-even analysis. Okay, so this is the components of a business plan. Okay, in a business plan, you have the introduction page with the heading. Then you got the executive summary, right? Just 2-3 pages. Then you have the industry analysis, description of the venture. What is its product? What's the service? The size of the business? All this kind of thing. Production. How do you going to produce it? And then how you going to operate the business? Okay. Then marketing plan, organizational plan. Organization means who is the owner, the company structure, you know, organization structure. All that comes here. Contingency plan, and then you have the financial plan. Okay. All right. Okay, we have appendix. Sometimes you have appendix if you want to put in additional things, like if you need, not necessary, but you can put in price lists, brochures, you know, contracts, all those kind of things. Maybe you got you've taken you've got some testimonies, or you have other things like you can put that at the appendix there, right? Okay, so basically these are things about business plan. You know, it's got to be attractive. It must be free of spelling mistakes. It must be appealing. You look at it, very nice, you know, and there should be a table of contents, okay? And it must make what? Make money. If you're not going to make money, people are not going to be interested in that, you know. It should be interesting, right? And use a lot of spreadsheets, you know, graphs and all that. Your cash flow projections, you know, are very important now. Now, most people, out of the 3 accounts, what are the 3 accounts? Income statement, cash flow, and balance sheet. Most people will look at the cash flow because that is where they know whether are you efficiently using the money. I'm giving 100,000. Is the guy using it properly or not? Or simply every month you're going to come to me and say, boss, Tara Chukab, do it. You know, is he going to come and do that or not, right? Okay, it should be short, crisp, and also long enough. And tell the truth. Very important. Tell the truth. Because people always know whether you're bluffing or not, right? Now, why some business plan fail? You can look at these reasons, right? Why is it? Because they're not reasonable, they're not measurable, you know. That means you simply just write down there, you cannot really calculate the actual thing. You have not made a commitment to the business, okay? You got no experience. Now, this is why we look at and see, you got no experience in the business. Either you got no experience, but you can actually hire people. Your management team has got experience. That's good. Jack Ma has got no experience in internet business, but he got people in his 18 partners he has. A lot of them got experience in internet, you know, in technology. And that's the reason why people are willing to invest in the money. Like Steve Jobs did not have experience in this, but who has got somebody else to experience. And that's the reason why they took out money, you know, right? And paid for it. And you have no sense of the threats. and the customer need was not established. Now, this is very important. You have to know whether the customer has a need for the particular product. Okay. Okay, this chapter we looked at the business plan. Okay, we'll delve in detail because business plan is one of the key things that you learn in entrepreneurship. Okay, you should be able to actually design and write your own business plan of your own. Okay? And then you must be able to learn to, those who are doing business, you must be able to modify it. Some of you, maybe you have not done your business plan, you know, maybe not clear lah. It's just something you write down an idea saja. Tapi belum tulis lagi business plan yang detail, you know, I recommend that you sit down and do a business plan. And then you can see where is your business heading, you know, and whether what changes you can do that. So get hold of a business plan, you know, or maybe ask somebody else to do a business plan for you, and you'll find that'll be the thing. Okay. Okay, now we're going to look at creativity and innovation. Now we look in the last chapter. We look at the strategic business plan and how important a business plan is. Now we're going to look at the creativity and innovation. Now, as we know that in this time of pandemic, more than ever, you know, we found that it's very important to be creative. And the people that you all have looked at, the examples of those people that you're given, like for example, the Tea Life and the confectionery that we talked about, you know. So these people have actually been very creative and innovative, you know. If they sit down and think, oh, you're gone, my business, nobody's going to come, it's going to happen. So entrepreneurs are very creative people, okay? So we're going to look at creativity, you know, how that helps in the, what do you call, to be in an entrepreneurial venture. Okay, by the end of this chapter, you'll be able to know about what is creativity and what is innovation, and why is it important for entrepreneurship. We also look at the role of the entrepreneur in the process of innovation and the importance of innovation. Okay, now what's the difference between creativity and innovation? We always say creativity and innovation, right? What is creativity? What is innovation? What's the difference between creativity and innovation?
Creativity is idea.
Okay. Yes, more an idea.
Innovation is changing.
Innovation is what?
Changing.
Creativity is ideas lah, you say lah.
Yeah, correct.
Yep. Innovation is what?
Innovation
changing.
Great.
New things.
Drink or what? Doing.
Doing.
Yes.
Doing.
Something new.
Innovate a new things.
Now.
Implement. Innovation is implement.
Innovation is implementation. Okay, you're right. Okay, so creativity, like what you said, is thinking. You know, innovation is doing. Right. So this is what the difference between it like now. Innovation is the ability to create solutions, to create solutions for problem and opportunities, enhance the life. And creativity is thinking new things, whereas innovation is doing new things. Okay, so this is a definition of innovation. All right. Okay. Innovating is you're looking at something and how you can change it. That's the thing. That's called innovation. For example, Grab. Grab is actually not a new idea. It's actually already been there, right? Isn't it? Last time, remember, we have call taxi. Do you remember that? Call taxi, you know, when you want to go to airport, you call the taxi and say, tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock, I want you to come, right? So that is how what they have done is they have innovated that, you know, that idea of call taxi, they have actually innovated using the smartphone, right? So that's called innovation, right? So they haven't discovered something new, but they haven't created something new, but they have just innovated it, right? Okay. Now, creativity is an important attribute for an entrepreneur, and creativity tends to decline with age. As you grow older, you become less creative, you know. Is it true? Is it true?
True.
True, you become less creative, right? Isn't it? But actually now, no, you know, we can still be, if you want to, with a lot of supplements and things like that, you can still be creative, you know, even at the old age, right? Okay, creativity is not only an important source of building competitive advantage, but also necessary for survival. Okay, if you're not creative in your business, our business are going to die. All right, so that's very important. I know. Now, the word paradigm. Okay, now paradigm shift. You heard of the word paradigm shift? Have you heard of that paradigm shift? Paradigm shift is a change from a conceived idea, you know. The idea is, like, for example, today the pandemic has made that there's a huge paradigm shift, because many people think that, you know, you cannot do things online, you know, a lot of things, teaching online. You know, today you find teaching online has become a normal thing. So this has been a paradigm shift for a lot of people. Learning online. Last time, do you ever think about a few years or last year or 2 years ago, do you ever think that you're going to have your course online, you're going to sitting down and, you know, study the thing? You never think about it, but today it has become a a reality, and because it's a paradigm shift line, right? Okay. Okay, and you find that entrepreneurship is a constant process, rely on creativity, innovation, and application, you know. Now, as an entrepreneur, it's important that you don't just do once, you got to keep on doing it. Creative, innovate, and then apply. Creative, innovate, and apply. And this is like what Tony Fernandez does. It's some creative new idea. He thought, okay, I can do something different. Look at Santan, you know, become very popular. So I can make a business out of it. I can make a restaurant out of it. And I can, not only that, I can give it as a kind of a franchise it, you know. Now Santan restaurant is it's a franchise, you know, and all the food designed and created in the what do you call in the plane, so from there the idea, so from there it become a kind of a thing, creative, innovate, and apply in the marketplace. So this is what entrepreneurship is like, right? Grab is doing the same thing, coming up with new ideas and they're applying it in the marketplace now, right? Okay. Now, according to Kuratko and Hodges, these are the key people on entrepreneurship, you know, academicians on entrepreneurship. There are 4 main steps in the creative process. Okay, first is knowledge accumulation. You will learn, you know, about what's happening around us, like knowledge accumulation. Then you have an incubation period. Incubation means you put it in your mind, you're thinking about it, right? And then after, ideas come up. And then is what? Evaluation and implementation. Okay, there are 4 steps. First is knowledge accumulation. You read more, you learn more, you see more. And then the idea, all whatever you learn is going into your mind and you are incubating, you know, like for example, it is growing inside your mind, you know, and then suddenly an idea comes up and say, okay, why don't we do this way, you know, and then finally is the evaluation process. So this is the creative process. Okay, now, why is it sometimes, let me pull this down. Okay, why we have a barrier to creativity? Okay, so sometimes it's because we're searching for the right answer. In order to be creative, sometimes you have to just throw ideas, you know, different ideas, and don't be logical. Sometimes you don't be logical when you. So sometimes what happens is we have brainstorming session. In a brainstorming session, you can do this. Actually, is a very good way. How do you make your team creative? Let's say you have a team of people. You want to come up with creative idea how to overcome a certain difficulty. What you do is you can have this what you call a think tank session. In the think tank session, what you do is you put everybody together and all come up with ideas. You know, it don't have to be the right idea. Don't think logical. You know, just follow whatever your mind comes. Just write it down, like, you know, and even can be stupid also. It can look like stupid idea also, like, you know, right? And anything, it can be, so basically all these things, you put it in, and then from there you pick up ideas. Now, these are the 10 mental blocks, you know, why people are not creative, because you're always thinking of the right thing. You don't want to be wrong, you know, always don't want to be stupid. People will say, hey, you're stupid, like, you know, okay, you don't want to make mistake. All these are the things that stop us or blocking us from being a creative person, like, you know, right? Okay, are you very creative or not? Are you a very creative person? Faisal, are you a very creative person?
I think so.
You think so? Okay, all right. All right. So how about you, Deva? Are you a creative person? Are you a creative person?
Not so.
Not so, is it? So, okay, the reason why you're not, everybody can be creative. The thing is basically this, these are the blocks, you know, sometimes we don't want to make mistake, you know, we don't want to be, people say, hey, bodoh lah, apa dia cakap tu, don't want that, you know. Sometimes we want to be very practical, follow the thing, you know, so these are the things that stop us from creativeness, right? So everyone can be creative. We need to break our mental blocks, right? Okay, so some of the characteristics of creative people, they're humble and also proud, you know. Okay, but I find a lot of them are actually more proud, you know, people like Tony Fernandez, all these people are proud, you know, and some are humble, of course, right? And all of them are passionate, okay? This is, of course, very true. All of them are very passionate about their work, okay? Combination of playful and discipline. You find a lot of people are very playful, having fun, enjoying themselves. People like Elon Musk, you know, very creative people, you know, and people like Richard Branson, you know, are very creative, okay? Brave to try new ideas, open-minded, able to control themselves, you know, willing to take calculation. These are all the characteristics of
School of Management at Northwestern University, and I look at how larger organizations, established companies in particular, try and figure out how to innovate on an ongoing basis. We like to think about metaphorically the fortress and the ship. The fortress is your ongoing business, competitive, successful. The ship, these are the people out surfing the high seas looking for gold, but they didn't know exactly where they were going to find it. Companies need to have both. They need to have people in the fortress, the core businesses, to focus on being exceptional at what they do right now, but they also need to have people who are out seeking the future. One is not better than the other. The fact that it's easier and often cheaper to start brand new businesses today than it's ever been before is both a threat and an opportunity. For an aspiring entrepreneur, there are a lot more options today. Whether it's crowdfunding, Indiegogo, Kickstarter, whether it's digital businesses where I can get online and get moving faster and cheaper than ever before. The paradox is that becoming the best at what you do, which is great, that's our job, sets us up for failure in the long run. Most people are aware of Kodak. Here was an icon of global commerce. It dominated the market. Years ago, they had the world's best digital imaging technology, R&D. Somebody said in the company, you know what, wait a minute, that's going to destroy our core business, which is analog film, where we're making an extraordinary amount of money. We would be idiots to do that, so let's just bury this technology in the lab. Well, sort of makes sense in the near term, but if you think about it, there are going to be, I don't know, other people in the world thinking about digital imaging, and eventually it's going to get better and better and cheaper, and that's exactly what happened. Fuji saw it coming, and Fuji acted. Fuji made investments in new directions, and today they're a thriving, profitable enterprise, much bigger than they were before. And Kodak is history. Innovation is really not just about coming up with new products or cute concepts. It's really about business design, thinking about all the aspects of the business. And changing some of those aspects might be very difficult for an established core business, but it's something that a separate group can experiment with and get it right before you start to transition it out into the real world.
Okay, now we saw this now, the video. It talks about Kodak, right, isn't it? Did you listen to the videos now?
Yes.
Okay, talk about. Now, who invented digital photography? Who is the person, which company invented digital photography? And now you have digital photography, right, isn't it? Take digital without film, right? Who invented it?
Kodak.
Kodak.
Yes, actually Kodak is the one that invented digital photography, you see. Like we saw in the video, it said that they invented digital photography, but look, they look at it and see, hey, this is good, but this is going to stop our own business. It's stupid because if we develop this, innovation, our own business, which is doing films, is going to be disrupted, is it? So let's take this and bury this, forget it, leave it there like that, is it? But that's the thing about innovation. If you don't pick it up, somebody else is going to pick it up and go on with it. So after the, the copyright period is over, Fuji took up the thing and invested into the, that innovation, is it? And today, digital photography is the mainstay, and you find that companies like Kodak has gone out because they never went into the that digital market. They did, but it was too late for them. Companies like Fuji and others were really, on the leading the way. Now, this is a good story we learn about digital photography. You can come up with ideas, but if you don't capitalize on it, then it's going to be a failure for your company, right? Okay, so innovation. Now, if you talk about innovation, there are different types of innovation. One is called ordinary innovation. One is called technological innovation. And then you have breakthrough innovation. Breakthrough means disrupt. The entire industry has been disrupted. Okay. Ordinary innovation is like something, simple innovations that you do with it, making something better. Technological is basically a new technology like 4G becomes 5G. That's called a technological innovation. Okay? Breakthrough innovation is the entire industry kaput after that. Okay, for example, we talk about CD. Okay, now how many of you buy CD?
No more.
Compact disc.
We don't buy CD at all, right? Even movie also, last time we used to buy the DVD all down. We don't buy that at all.
No,
yes.
not anymore.
No more. So the whole entire industry kaput already, gone. Yes or not? I think PD video, they are giving some because they cannot sustain anymore already because the whole entire thing. So with MP3s, with the invention of MP3, the entire industry. So that's called breakthrough innovation slide. All right. Okay. Now you find the events are lesser. You look at the event, not many breakthrough, but a lot of ordinary innovation is there. These are some of the breakthrough innovation: nanotechnology, satellite, aeroplane, automobile, computers. Okay, computers are all these are all breakthrough innovation. Okay, now you can have what you call continuous innovation, dynamic, discontinuous. Okay, so these are the same thing like breakthrough. Discontinuous is what you call breakthrough innovation. For example, iPhone, like now you have what, iPhone what, 12, is it 12 or 11? What is the iPhone latest one now?
12.
12. So let's say next year they come up with the 13, maybe iPhone 13. iPhone 13 will be better, but that is slightly better. Some new one or two new features will be there, is it? And that is called continuous innovation. That means it doesn't disrupt the whole entire thing. Is it? It's called continuous innovation. It's called. Okay. When it disrupts the entire business or industry, it's called a discontinuous, what you call, innovation. Okay. Now we looked at the difference between creativity and innovation. We look at the 4-step process of innovation by Kratko. We look at all the barriers to creativity and what are the different methods to generate ideas. Different types of innovation, different levels of innovation we looked at. Okay, now we go with the financing part. Okay, now this is an important topic because why? One of the reasons why companies close down is because of lack of what? Money. Okay. Now in your assignment you have this question also. People and financing are two important resources of capital of organization. How does your organization manage these resources? Okay, so we can get some ideas from the topic that we're going to see. Okay, so in this topic we're going to look at the basic stages of venture funding, types of financing. We will look at the venture capital industry. We will look at things like government grants, and things like that. Right. Now, when an entrepreneur normally when he starts a business, where does he get the money from? Let's say first when you start the business, where do you get money from?
Uses his own.
Well, banks already, our RHP banker said that they won't lend you money. You need at least 5 years working, the company must be working. So you're going to start a business now. All right. So where can we get our money from?
Saving,
saving.
Yes. Our saving. Then some more?
Investor.
Pinjam from family members.
Yes, we get it from family members. Investor in the beginning, they also might not give out money like. So normally when they first start off, what they do is they look for their own finances. Okay. Now what happened when Steve Jobs, when they started the company, Steve Jobs sold his Volkswagen van, for $750, and then Wozniak sold his HP calculator, for $500. Those days it was very expensive, calculator. Okay? So these are all so they sold these, and then they started to buy the components to make the first computer, is it? And they borrowed some money from their father. I think he borrowed from the father $3,000. He borrowed. Okay. Then is when he made the thing. So normally when he first is from personal saving, from friends and family to financing. Okay, now these are interest free and it'll allow the business to survive in the future for a while. Right? Now entrepreneurs be creative in searching for capital financing. Okay, financing need changes as and when the business is moving from one stage to another stage. Financing changes, right? Isn't it? Now when they first started off, there were only 2 of them. Okay, and they could start off the thing. Then after some time, what happened? They needed more parts, and they got a deal to supply 500 computers, to one of the store in California, and they needed more people to do the work. Remember the video we saw, the small garage, a few people were working, so they hired 10 people to help them to do all the work, all the soldering, all the the PCB, all that. They hired people, right? So your stage become more, and then they needed to grow further. They couldn't get funding, and that is when the Mark Makula, remember I showed you the one, Mark, he came and invested. How much he invested? The first time he invested 100,000 into the company. All right, so that is where the first funding that came in, into the business plan. Okay, now normally companies go through different stages of funding. One is called the early stage finance. Early stage means when a company is just starting, right? So this is called a seed capital. At the seed capital, what you need is just small, seed capital. You need a small amount of money, okay? And normally you get the money for buying some of the product to develop the prototype. You're doing a prototype, so you need some money. And this is from your own funding. Okay? Then the second stage is the expansion or development, okay, stage, right? This is the second stage, right? So this is major expansion for company with rapid sales growth. Company isn't break even or positive yet, not yet positive in this thing, right? Then the next stage is buyout or leverage. This is where the company makes money. So this is basically where it's public listed, this is where the IPO takes place, right? So normally there are 3 stages in a company. There's the early stage when the company is formed. Then you have the expansion stage when it's growing. You need more manpower, you need more equipment, you need more resources, and then you need money. That's the second stage of financing. And the last stage is when you IPO. When you IPO, the company receives a lot of money. Okay, so that's when you really want to grow big. So we have IPO, or you have LBO, which is called leverage buyout. Okay? Leverage buyout. MBO, management buyout. The management of a company buys out the company from the owners. So it's called a management buyout. Okay, and you can go private. Okay, some members of the company buying all the outstanding stock, make the company privately held again. You can public list the company and you can make it public, or you can make it private also. It's possible. Now, these are the different stages of funding that we go through. First is the seed stage. Now, this is seed when a company just starts. Then you have the angel investors. Now, what is angel investor? Who is angel? Who are angel investors? Hello? What is an angel? Deva, who's an angel?
Angel is someone gives us without we asking, or maybe when we're in trouble, somebody comes and helps us.
Yeah, okay. So angel investors are those who look at you and say, okay, I don't mind helping you, and give you money, because, it could be your family, or it could be a friend or somebody, it could be a well-wisher, or somebody wants to just help you out, And angel investors are sometimes not really interested in the profit part of it, so that's called angels, Now, are angels easy to see or not? Is it easy to get angels?
Cannot,
right?
Cannot.
Well, you cannot see, I think, malaikat, right? Angel is malaikat.
Yes.
Right? So you cannot find the angels, So if you find an angel, tell me, okay? If you're not find an angel, tell me. So there are angel investors, right? Okay.
Yes.
Then you have the early stage investment. Early stage means where the company is growing. Okay. First commercial. If you look at this, this is product development. First commercial. That means commercially first, it's going into the market, called it early stage. So you need financing for this stage also, right? Then you have the Series A, fully commercial. Series B, you're expanding. Series C, then it's called the mezzanine. This is what is the terminology that has been used today. For companies like Grab and all that, they have Series A funding, Series B, Series C, and then the mezzanine. Mezzanine is ready for the IPO. So these are the different stages. Okay. Now listen to this video about Anthony Tan. He is a founder of Grab, co-founder of Grab. Now what he talks about funding, how important funding is, right? And this video is the early stage when he first started off. The company was not even called Grab at the time. They were called My Taxi. At the time they were called when they first started up, they were called My Taxi. Their job was working with taxi only, After that is when they pivoted to become Grab, right? Okay, so what he's talking about financing, how important how difficult it is for them to get the financing.
What does it take to be a startup?
And resilience, never say die. That would be the generic statement. For me, it's get ready to wash a few years of your life down the drain. Really, in terms of you have to beg for resources. So literally get down on the ground, humble yourself, beg, steal, fight, rob, whatever. I mean, not in the literal sense, but be that hungry for resources. And I mean in terms of fighting for talent, in terms of fighting for a stockpile of basically cash, because liquidity is crucial. Never fear, they just whack on it. That type of irrational exuberance for some, but for them it's rational. They say, look, I see this opportunity, it's going to happen, it's the make or break, right? I'm gonna go for it. It's the same thing for us, right? You need to be that hungry, you need to be that sure.
As of October 2013, Grab Taxi has seen more than 400,000 downloads of its app and projects that 1 in 3 active drivers will be in its network in Malaysia and the Philippines by the end of the year. As Anthony continues to expand Grab Taxi's network into more markets, he reflects on his journey.
If I only knew that starting a double bottom line, a self-sustainable social enterprise would be this invigorating, for not only for myself, but for attracting the top talents, people who believe in the same double bottom line approach. If I knew that, I would have started it so much earlier, right? And built companies of that nature.
Okay, so what do you understand from the video? How difficult it is to get funding, right? Isn't it? He talks about how difficult. Now, he mentioned a word called bottom line. What is bottom line? The video he's talked about bottom line. What do you think is bottom line?
Final solution.
Anybody else?
The main factor that you have to consider.
Bottom line. Anybody else? What do you think is bottom line?
A summary or the final solution?
Summary of final solution.
Company net statement.
Yeah, Nora?
Company net statement.
Okay, very good. I think I mentioned this to you all last time, I think, right? Bottom line means profit. Okay, write that down somewhere. Okay, that's very important. Huh? Use this word. Use this word in your email. Use this word when you're communicating with people, bottom line. In business, bottom line means is profit. Profit. Okay, I mean, after minus everything is profit, right? Opposite of bottom line is what? Opposite of bottom line?
Loss.
What is the opposite of bottom line? What is the opposite of bottom?
Highest.
Okay. Top line. Okay. Now, what is top line?
Losses.
Yeah, Faizal?
Losses.
Not losses.
Revenue.
Very good. Revenue. Okay. Now, top line is the sales or revenue. Revenue lah. Revenue means belum potong lagi the swan line. Okay. Turnover, revenue, all these is actually the same word. Okay. Top line, so you need to tell your boss, we need to increase our top line. Okay, that means what? We need to increase our sales, right? Isn't it? Only then your bottom line can become better. We need to get, or you can say words like, we need to look for new top line. They mean new sales, new areas of business growth. So we need to look into that, right? So top line is the sales, bottom line is the profit. So we have to look at the bottom line. Our bottom line will improve. You say our bottom line will improve if we can learn to cut our costs. Now, these are words that you can use. Now, in Anthony Tan, when he talked about this now, he used the word double bottom line. What does double bottom line mean?
Double up the profit.
Okay. We have a double bottom line. That means a double bottom line means one bottom line is about profit. The other bottom line is what? Okay. Now, he mentioned that Grab is a social enterprise. Remember social enterprise? Remember we learned what is social enterprise? What is social enterprise? What is a social enterprise? I forgot already. Remember yesterday we learned social enterprise. Social enterprise is an enterprise started by an entrepreneur. We follow the same way as a business, but the purpose is for helping the community. Okay, that's called a social enterprise. Okay, so Grab started off as a social enterprise to help people to get better taxi service, better thing, and also to help people to make extra money, drivers to make it. So it's actually a social enterprise, is it? So they say, I got double bottom line. They mean, one bottom line is to make profit for the company. Another bottom line is to help, what do you call? People, social. Is it? So social, that's called a social enterprise, is it? So it's a double bottom line company, is it? So how many of your companies are double bottom line? That means like you're not only one bottom line, you're not only looking at the profit, but at the same time, you're also trying to help the community, help to build up the, what do you call, the ecosystem, some kind of a benefit to the society. If you're doing then you have a double bottom line, right? Okay, so I don't know, maybe BP, are you having a double bottom line, Sudha?
Yes, indeed. It is double bottom line. One is obviously is profit. Second one is we call it reimagining energy for the people and also the world.
Okay, good. All right. So they're reimagining energy. I think we talked about it earlier, right? Isn't it? And also same time, they also must think about as a social enterprise, how are they going to help people, to have some profits or some income from all this, what do you call it? In some places, what they do is they let people, generate energy, and then they buy the energy. So people are making money from there also. That also could be a social enterprise. We can do that. All right. Okay. So write down these words and use this. In the next session, if I meet up with you, I'll ask you again all these questions. So remember this. Remember, we need to change our language. Right. So good, Nora. Yeah? You can remember some of these things, right? Now, there are different ways of financing. You have undercapitalized financing, overcapitalized, and then you have phase financing. Undercapitalized means it's too little money. Overcapitalized, too much of money. Too much of money also can be a problem. Okay, it can be an issue also, is it? Now, phase financing is the best, where you go from one phase to another phase to another phase. Like this, now what we saw the earlier one is called a phase financing. I mean, you move from stage 1 to stage 2 to stage 3 financing, right? Now, there's another way you can go. It's called venture capital. And now, companies like Grab, you go to the bank, they won't give you money because they look at you and say, "What kind of business is this?" Banks like to give you money based on something they can see, tangible, But this is business yang belum orang pernah buat lagi, is it? So they cannot give you money, is it? So this kind of business ideas, if you have, you need to go to a venture capital. Okay, we're going to look at what is a venture capital.
Venture capital is something you hear about all the time in tech, but do you know what it is or how it works? Could you explain it to people at a party? Well, if not, we got you. Venture capital is money that is provided by investors to startups that have the potential to reshape markets and grow very fast. The money deployed by a VC firm usually comes from institutional investors, corporations, or wealthy individuals looking to make some serious dough. Let's say Jane and Brian have a camera app that's getting a lot of customers and media attention. They know their little company could be ballin' one day, but the banks are hesitant to lend them money because they think it's too risky. But Marcus, a successful VC, looks at what Jane and Brian have done and thinks the benefits outweigh the risks. He gets to know the two, learns about their product, reads the business plan, and finds out how much they've done so far. Marcus likes what he sees and decides to invest in Jane and Brian's company. He does the same in varying amounts to other startups with similar potential, because in the VC game, you need a backup plan. About 3 out of every 4 startups fail, so a VC has to make sure the projects that do make money make enough of it to cover the losses of the failures. They also have to make sure that the parties who back them get a healthy return on their investment. Even with the risks, VCs love tech startups because of their ability to scale easily. As for how much money Jane and Brian would get, that depends on where their company is at. Seed funding is at the earliest stage, basically something to get the party going. Series A is for when the company has established product and market fit, started to make some serious buzz, and its customer base is growing fast. Series B is when the company has started to make some considerable revenue in select markets and is looking to expand operations. Series C and onwards is when the company has grown up and is likely operating on a global scale. It may be ready for an IPO, to be bought out by another company, or continue operating as a private firm. So let's say Jane and Brian have stayed in the game, gone through Series C, and are now ready for the next step. They decide to IPO, making their company public on the stock market. That goes well, and Marcus sees a nice return on his initial investment. So there you have it. Venture capital is a high-risk, high-reward game that funds innovative ideas and keeps the tech world going.
Okay, so that is venture capital. Venture capital are companies, they are private, and the purpose is for profit. Okay, what they do is very simple. They gather money together. For example, all of us, let's say, for example, there are 18 of us, all of us put in 1 million. Now we have 18 million. That's a pool of capital. Now, what can we do with this money? You put the money in the bank, it's going to give you, RFP bank is going to give you 2.3%, which is not good enough. So what we do is, we take the money and we invest in businesses, startups. Okay, so let's say there are 2 or 3 companies they are starting up with some businesses. So what we do, we take that and invest 1 million here, 1 million here, 2 million here, like that. We invest in that company, and then we invest for what? A share of the profit, share of the company. So maybe we take 30% of the profit. 30% of the company. Right. So when we invest in that way, when the company becomes big and scale up, and it will be able to sell it, or maybe, or you can maybe publicly list the company, we all make money, and the money come back again into the pool, So this is what a venture capital company is. There are a few companies that are very popular. One of the biggest is SoftBank. company called SoftBank, you know. SoftBank is a company started by a Japanese guy in Matsuyoshi Shun, you know. What he did was he has invested in companies, tech startups like Uber, Grab, you know, and a whole lot of companies that he has invested in, which some of them he made money. Some, of course, is a loss line, you know, for them, but they are okay because they can cover back, you know, what is the, when you look at the word equity, equity means what? What is the meaning of word equity? Equity, when you see the word equity, what does it mean?
Our own money.
Equity means is share position. For example, if you open up a business, let's say we are starting a business today, we are talking about opening up a courier service. We all don't have money. So we go to a venture capitalist. Okay, so let's say for example, Sudha is a venture capitalist, he's got a few million lying around, like, you know. So we tell him we need 100,000. You know. So Sudha say, okay, I can give you 100,000, but I need 30% of your company share. So we are giving him an equity position. 30% share in the company is called an equity position in businesses. Okay, same thing. Remember, like Steve Jobs, 30% of the company, he gave 100,000. Mark Makula gave 100,000, and then 30% of the company he had equity position there in the company. Right? Different types of venture capital firms you have. There are private firms, small firms. Some are government sponsored. Like Malaysia, also we have the MEVCAP, you know, MEI730 is a Malaysian venture capital. It's under the government. So the government has a body that is like a venture capital. What they do is they lend money to you if you want to do business with it. And then, but they take a share in your particular company. So that's called a venture capital thing. Some of them are sponsored by universities, you know. Some rich universities, like for example, Stanford, Harvard, you know, all these are very rich universities. What they have a pool of money and they invest in startups, you know. So they are also doing that also. So university sponsored also there. Different types of things. Now, this is something new called crowdfunding. I'm sure you heard about this, right? Crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is the latest phenomenon. Now, what's happened is a lot of times we cannot get money from banks. You want to open up a business, you can't get money from bank. You can't get money from what do you call venture capital also. So you go to the internet and get money. Now, do you remember recently we had this issue, Malaysia Kini was fined. Do you remember that? Guys, are you there?
Yes,
you remember Malaysia Kini was fined recently 400,000, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. How did they get the money to pay? Do you remember how they got the money to pay?
Crowdfunding.
Yes, they did crowdfunding. What they did was they didn't have money. So they went and told everybody, hey, we all don't have money to pay the fine. We need money. So what happened? They did a crowdfunding. And crowdfunding, what happened? People started lending, giving money here and there, $1, $2, $10 and all that. And then within a couple of days, they were able to collect, the amount and I think excess of the amount. This is called crowdfunding. This is the latest way of what you call collecting, financing a business. So now there are different ways of doing it, you know, and I'm going to show you a video on crowdfunding. And this is the latest thing. If you have an idea and you want to do a business, but you cannot get money, you can try crowdfunding. There are a few websites that you can do.
Let's talk about one of the fastest growing online industries, crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is when individuals or startups use an online platform to gain funding for a project. Globally, the crowdfunding industry raised $16.2 billion in 2015 and is projected to grow to $96 billion by 2025. Generally speaking, there are 4 kinds of crowdfunding sites, although some sites include more than one type of crowdfunding. First, debt-based sites. These are where contributors receive interest payments in exchange for their contributions. Examples include Funded Here, Crowdo, and Moolah Sense. Next, equity-based sites, where contributors receive shares in exchange for their contributions. Examples include AngelList, Funnel, Seeders, and CapBridge. Third, reward-based platforms, where contributors are promised rewards in exchange for their support, like first priority access to the product once it goes live. Examples include Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and Ulule. Finally, donation-based platforms, where donations are charitable and usually tax-deductible. Examples include Indiegogo, Patreon, YouCaring, and FriendFund. Now, crowdfunding websites have to invest heavily in their platforms up front and slowly build up scale. So before investing in a crowdfunding platform, it's important to consider its stage of growth. In the early stage, the main focus should be on customer traction. You can gauge this by the amount of momentum being built among project initiators and investors. Therefore, the key valuation metrics include valuation divided by number of campaigns, valuation divided by successful campaigns, and valuation by funds raised. In the growth stage, the aim is to prove the revenue model and to scale up as rapidly as possible. Therefore, the key valuation metrics include valuation divided by funding value and valuation divided by revenue. Finally, in the late stage, the goal is to maximize profitability and cash flow while maintaining growth. Therefore, the key valuation metrics include valuation divided by revenue, valuation divided by EBITDA, and the PE ratio. Those are the basics of crowdfunding. To learn more, visit sgxacademy.com or download the digital research paper at sgx.com/digital sector. And good luck.
Okay, so this is crowdfunding line. It talks about how you can get funding for your business, your ideas by website. So in Malaysia also you have, I think Indiegogo, they have, a few websites are there where if you have an idea, you put it up there, make a video out of it, and people will invest in your business. So this is one thing you can do, right? So like Vince, you got an idea, something good can happen, you can use the crowdfunding, to fund your your venture, So these are things that you can do, all right? Okay, now these are different ways of financing. One is personal savings. We have covered some of these. Friends and family, partners, okay? Family, remember, you must tell your family when you do business that, sometimes your business can fail, is it? So your uncle or auntie look at you and say, oh, okay, you want to do business, I lend you money, they lend you 10,000, 20,000. And then after some time the business fail, then you cannot go back, you go wedding or cannot go everywhere you go, so cannot, and especially, some families, you go, if you borrow money, do business, and then next time wherever you go, they will tell you, oh, this fella like that, like you borrow money, difficult, right? That's a kind of a situation. So be careful when you borrow from family and friends, right? Okay. So, relationships, so tell them, okay, this might be a thing, but it might not be successful. Explain to them, right? Okay. Partners, sometimes problems, the risk will be there. Venture capital, we talked about this, you can get a lot of sum of money. Okay, they provide expertise in this one, and they leverage on their network. Good thing about venture capital is they got connection, They will connect you to the right people, supplier, good supplier, this, that, all this kind of thing. They will get you, That's the kind of connection they have with it. But they will take a share of your business, okay? Take a share of the business, okay? And sometimes they get involved in your running, day-to-day running. So people don't like it, sometimes, okay? Financial institution is good. Banks, they don't meddle in your business, but you need to pay back the the loan line, and difficult to obtain line. Banks normally won't give you this kind of fund. Government, also sometimes you need to pay, no need to pay, you give you a grant. But say grant is something you no need to pay back. A loan is something you need to pay back. Okay, so sometimes government give you grant also, so that's that. Angel investor, okay, we talked about it. Okay, business angels, they don't need collateral. Okay, sometimes you don't need repayment or no need interest also, but it's difficult to find these people. Public stock sale is IPO. Okay, in IPO, if business fail, no need to pay back the money to the shareholder. That's a good thing about IPO. A loss of ownership, a loss of control. And crowdfunding, we looked at crowdfunding line, okay, the easiest way, fast way, to get your money, right? Now, there are two types of funding. One is called debt financing and one is called equity financing. We already saw the word equity. What does equity mean? What do you mean by equity?
Share.
Share, right? Okay, whenever the word equity comes in, is share, right? Share of the business. If I ask you, what is the equity you're putting in? I mean, what is your amount of money you're putting in into the company? Okay? So when you get money, there's equity. So for example, if I am going to start, we're going to start the business, I need 100,000, okay, to start the business. So what I can do is, I can get equity financing. That means I can go to Sudha and say, look here, give me some money. Sudha will say, oh, I can give you 50,000. Okay, I give you 30% of the company. So 50,000 is equity financing. This is equity financing, okay, right? I got money from Sudha. But because of the 30,000, 50,000, I have to give away 30% of my share, to him. Next is the debt financing. Debt means what? What do you mean by debt financing? What is debt financing? That means you get money from loans, okay? obtaining borrowed funds for their company. Okay, borrowed fund. Now, borrowed funds can be two types. It can be loan or it can be bonds, right? Okay, there are two things, loans and bond. Loan means you get from the company money and then you, from the bank, and then you pay back the money to this one. Now, bonds are a bit different. Bonds are similar to borrow also, but the thing is, let's say, for example, I am a company, and what I do is I need to borrow some money. I need another 50,000. I need, okay, 50,000. So I already got 50,000 from Sudha already. Okay, as a partner, you come in and put in 50,000. I need another 50,000. So where do I go? So what I do is I go and do debt financing. I went and asked the bank. Bank said, no, I'm sorry, I cannot. I asked Noni. Noni said, sorry, cannot give you 50,000 for your company. So what I do, I go and write a bond. So what I do is that a bond is an IOU. I go and write a piece of paper. I said, all I need is what? I need 5 people to give me 10,000, right? I need how much? 50,000. So I need 5 people to give me 10,000. So what I do, I write IOU to somebody. Okay, let's say I go to Money, and I say, okay, Money, I need 10,000 So Money, you say, okay, I write an IOU and give it to him. Then I go to Selvi. Selvi don't want to invest money, so he give me 10,000. I give IOU to Selvi, right? So I find 5 people. So I collected 50,000. But this IOU I give you, I'm telling you that I must pay you back the money in 1 year time. Okay, they mean 1 year only. They mean the 1 year don't disturb me, 1 year time I give you back the money. But because of the money, what I do is I give you every month interest payment. I give you every month interest. Maybe, for example, for the 10,000 you give me, maybe I give you 5% interest. 5% interest is how much? 10,000, 5% is what? 500 ringgit. So every 500 ringgit divided by 12, so I give you 60 ringgit every month. Every month I give you 60 ringgit for the 10,000. So that is called what? That is called no, sorry, I think 600 ringgit, not 60 ringgit, 600 ringgit. Okay, so that is called bond. A bond is actually something that is issued by the company where they will pay you every month, interest, and then end of the period you have to pay back the full amount, the principal amount. It's called a bond. So 2 types of financing: debt financing and equity financing. Debt and equity. So each has got its benefit, and which has got its disadvantages also. Okay. All right, that clear? So we covered in this chapter about financing. Okay, we looked at what are the different types of financing. We looked at what is a venture capital. Okay, we looked at getting funding from online platforms. We look at venture capital online. We looked at different types of funding. We looked at the different stages of. We looked at how he talks about what are the different stages of funding. We looked at different types of stages of venture capital financing. We looked at different types of the grants that you have. Early stage. These are the different stages. Series A, Series B, Series C. So normally companies go through 3 series. Series A, Series B, Series C. After Series C, then they go into IPO. So this is normally the. All right, now we're going to look at business evaluation and control and debt capital. All right, now we're going to look at profit and cash flow. Some of this we've already covered earlier, right? Now, profit is not cash. Why? Remember I said this earlier? Profit is not cash. If I say I am making a profit, does it mean I have cash? Does it mean I have cash if I say I'm making a profit?
No.
No. Why?
Because the profit can be tied up in inventories and debtors. The money is going to come in. So it's not necessary you have a cash. It means liquid cash is not necessary profit.
Now, sometimes what happens is we can actually sell products for credit. Isn't it true or not? For example, let's say, I'll give you an example. Let's say, for example, I'm selling equipment line. So let's say I'm selling aircon. Aircon, I'm selling for 1,000 ringgit and let's say I have a deal with a company so they are buying 100 aircon for me. So what is my turnover? Okay, let's say for example, what's the cost of my
1,000?
Okay, 1,000 ringgit 1,000 ringgit is the cost of the aircon So let's say for example I make 100 sales. How much is that?
100,000.
100,000. So what's my sales by revenue? 100,000. Right, okay. But every aircon, the supplier, I have to pay how much? 500 ringgit, for example, 500 ringgit. So 500 multiplied by 100, how much is that?
50,000.
50,000.
50,000.
Okay. All right. So what is my profit?
50,000.
Okay. So let's say this is January, so this is January, let's say, okay, January. So what's my profit in January? 50,000. But this 100,000 that I have, this 100,000, I have to get, he give me 3 months, 3 months, what do you call, credit. It means I don't have the money now, so I already supply already, but then 3 months later only I'll give. So when do you think I'll get my money? Now it's January, February, March only I'm going to get the money. Okay. All right. So that is the thing. So this is in January. This is my figure in January, right? Now let's look at February. Now let's say February also I got very good sales, again another 100, So that means how much is my turnover? 100,000, my sales, So how much am I pay the supplier? 50,000.
50,000.
Again, my profit is how much? 50,000.
50,000.
Now, is my business good or not? I just started the business in January, Is my business good?
Yeah, growing.
My business is growing. I'm profitable, is it? But how about my cash? Now, when I pay the supplier, I have to pay cash. This is a new supplier, so you don't know me, is it? So I have to pay cash, is it? So what is my cash amount here? How much is my cash here? Let's say, for example, when I start the business, I borrowed how much? Let's say I borrowed 100,000, I will borrow 100,000 from the investor, okay? Start the business. So how much I have in my bank? How much I had in my bank?
100,000.
100,000. Okay. So now, when the first order came in January, I take out 50,000 and I pay already, they pay to this fella. Okay. So here my balance is what? 50. So here, what is my balance now here?
50,000.
Yeah, the 50,000 I pay here already. Here from the 100,000 that I have, from the 100,000 I paid 150,000 here. Then from this 100,000 I also paid another 50,000 here. Now how much is my balance now?
Nil.
What is my balance money now in my bank?
Cash
Zero.
is
No money.
Cash is nil.
Huh?
Cash is nil. Zero.
Nil. Good word. Nil. Nil means zero. My cash is zero. Why is my zero? But I've done sales. What? I got 100,000. I got profit. I got profit here. I got profit here. Why? What happened? What happened?
Don't know.
I have sales 100,000. I have 50,000 profit here. I got 50,000 profit here. So why is it my cash is zero?
Maybe you have sold in credit term.
Yes, I have sold in credit. I only get the money. Where? In
3 months, March.
March only I had to do it dalam bank. Sekarang I don't have money. I'm using nasi lemak every day, Maggi mee. Is it? I don't have money. Even though, so this is an example of profit is not cash. Because when you talk about accounting, they will look at sales, whether you collected the money or not. They do this because this is called accrual accounting. There's a different type of accounting called cash accounting. The one is look at the cash only. Then if your sales cash come in, then only they book in. Is it? Now in Malaysia and many countries we use accrual accounting. Accrual means what you do before the money come in. As long as the sales is done, the product is delivered. They've signed the invoice. Okay, 100,000 you put in as 100,000, even though the money has not come inside. Is it? Now this is basically the kind of thing. This is the reason why cash is not profit. Okay, so you might have a lot of profit, but you might not have cash in your bank account. Is it? But this is the reason why it's important to understand all three accounts. Cash flow account. But in your cash flow account, if you write, you know what will come? Let's say you do a cash flow statement here. Let's say a cash flow statement. What is the cash in here? What is the cash here? Okay, let's say I do a cash flow. Cash inside here is what? 100,000, right? In January. Do I have 100,000? Yes. So I minus 50,000. I pay to the supplier 50,000. I got balance 50,000. This is my cash flow. 50. I got sorry. 50,000, you know, this is my 50,000. Then I come here. Here is what? Beginning cash is how much? For the February, how much is my cash now in my bank?
50,000.
50,000. 50,000, is it? Sorry, I have to delete this. Okay, 50,000 I have. Minus another 50,000, I have 0. See, your cash flow statement will tell you a better picture of your cash problem, your situation, you know. See? You look at the cash flow statement, will tell you got 0 here, you know. But here you got what? 50,000 is profit. Now my profit is 100,000, you know. Here this one 100 profit, here 100. So my profit has been 100,000, but my cash is how much? 0, you know. See? So that is why a cash is very important. Okay, and you have to look at it and say, okay, cash flow is the lifeblood of a business. Okay, now startups face the danger of debt valley. What is debt valley? Debt valley is what we are showing this now, is it? Now, if you look at the situation here, if you look at the situation, if you find, where's my, okay, this is where he's borrowing the money. You know, if you look at the situation here, from here, first sale, the first sale comes up, is it, to him? Or the first sale, what happened to the cash flow? Become negative. Here's where the minus 50,000 line, you know, you take out the negative, you know, is it? So this much only you can borrow, no more money, you know, is it? So then what happened? The sales go up. Once the sales go up, your cash flow comes in after so many days, you know. Then at one point, if let's say, for example, in the previous example, if let's say in the previous example here, if let's say, for example, in March, let's say in March, the fellow who owe me in January say, sorry, boss, ini 1 bulan lagi boleh tunggu ke tak, you know, for the payment, you know. So in March also I got no money. And suddenly in March, I got another order coming, another 100 account order coming. What am I going to do? What will I do? Guys, if March, what will I going to do? Let's say for that, I got another order.
Borrow.
Huh?
Loan.
I have
another loan.
I'm going to go loan. I'm going to go and carry along, right? Isn't it? I don't have money, right? Isn't it? So this is called the debt. Yes. After sometimes, after some time, if you really do this thing, you get stuck in a debt valley, you know. So this is debt valley. So it's important that, you know, cash is one of the biggest challenges that entrepreneurs face when you're running a business, right? Do you agree with me or not, Vince?
Yes.
Yeah. And sometimes you're stuck, you know. Sometimes you got to pay your staff before you pay yourself, you know. Have you ever come across a situation like that?
Thankfully, no, sir.
Okay. That's good,
Because I always get upfront from my
your clients, Okay, that
before and yeah. So before start the event and also before finish the event, I make sure they pay everything.
Okay, that is good, you know. But not all the case you can do that, Sometimes
yeah.
you're stuck that you have to pay your staff salary and then you yourself don't have money, you know, but you have to pay your staff. Otherwise, you cannot, you know. So these are challenges that entrepreneurs have, you know, right? Okay, now something called a cash flow cycle. When you're planning your business, you must look at your cash flow cycle. Look at this. This is in your notes, so you can look at it, right? Now, when you have to plan out, for example, you order the goods, you receive the goods, you pay the invoice, you sell the goods, you deliver the good, you send the invoice, customer pay. Okay, this is how a business is run, you know. That means you have an order from, before you have an order from customer, you order the goods. These are your raw materials, or your, say, I mean, for example, I order the aircon and I keep, you know, one day, say day one. Then I receive. It takes 15 days for me to get the account from the from the supplier. Then I have to pay the invoice on the 40-day because it's given me, you know, a term in this thing, you know, I have to pay. I mean, 15 to 40, 25 days, you know, I have to pay the, what do you call, the goods from the time of delivery. Now, selling the good, I have bought all the things, stock I keep ready, but I don't know when I'm going to sell. Okay, so let's say, for example, it takes me some time to sell, 170 days for me to sell the particular product. Once I sell, I don't get immediately also, I have to deliver the good. So delivery is that if within 3 days I deliver quickly, I deliver to the customer, and then I send invoice to the customer. And the customer to pay me, it takes 50 days for me to pay me. It's a total of 30 days, maybe 60 days, you know. From the time I deliver the goods, you know, to the thing. You're giving him actually 30 days of what do you call this thing. So that means that your cash flow cycle, if you calculate, is 240 days, from the time that you have ordered the goods, and the time that the customer pay, where you can pay back, to the, what do you call, you can cover the cost for the raw materials that, or materials that you ordered, it takes 240 days, right? So this is something that you need to calculate, really calculate and find out how long a time for me it takes for me to pay back to recover the cost of the product. Okay, so once you buy something, let's say I buy for 10 ringgit, I sell for 20 ringgit, then I make what? 10 ringgit profit. But for you to make the 10 ringgit profit, how long you got to wait? 240 days, It doesn't mean that I buy today and tomorrow I'm selling, is it? But this is called the cash flow cycle. So every company, you need to calculate your cash flow and find out how long it takes. And then you got to analyze and find out whether you can actually survive or not, and how much money you need to have in your bank for you to, what are you going to have that, okay? So in your notes, you have more detailed information about this, so you can really read through that, all right, on what you find there. Okay, so these are different types of loans. A character loan, you can get installment loan, straight commercial loan from the bank. Long-term loan, character loan is based on your reputation. They give you a loan based on, your company been working, so long, and they know you, and things like that. Okay, lines of credit. These are different ways in which you can get. Okay, all right. Some of these things you can read through, so basically these are not much, some of it you already probably know about it. Okay, now let's go to the final chapter. Okay, managing growth. Now, another area that challenges have is when you manage and run the business. Maybe you're able to control your money, finances are there, but managing the growth is one of the biggest challenges. Remember the story we looked at when Apple was growing, they couldn't manage it, so Steve Jobs had to be sacked, because he couldn't run the company in the right way. So managing the growth is where the challenge sometimes are. So we're going to look at this chapter. We're going to look at the human dimension in organizational growth, how joint venture can help, and effective joint venture relationship, types of international operations, and managing the product, brand, and IP. Okay, why do companies grow? Because they want to capture economies of scale. What is economies of scale? What do you mean by the word economy of scale? I think I taught you this in the last. What is economies of scale? This is another word that you can use when you're talking to people or writing. Okay, a good word that you can keep. What is economies of scale? Anybody can help me? Sudha has gone having lunch, I think. Are you there?
No, I'm still here. Yeah.
What is economic?
Economic of scale. I'm not very, sure the exact definition.
It doesn't matter. Give it a shot. It's all right.
Yeah. Economic scale is that the moment you start to increase your production, your costs will start to come down. Yeah, that's what I think.
You're right. Exactly true. Okay, economies of scale is when you produce more, your cost per unit goes down. Isn't it true or not? I mean, those of you in production and all that, you all know, right? Isn't it? So when you produce more, your unit cost goes down. So that is called economies of scale. Now, when a company grows, you gain economies of scale, right? Why? Because you're able to produce more, and when you produce more, each product cost becomes lower, So when you're calculating your P&L, profit and loss, cost goes down, because you're producing more. Okay, so you can gain economies of scale. Good. All right, write that down. It's useful for you, when you're talking and writing up. Use words like this. We can gain economies of scale, right? So that's the thing, economy of scale. Okay, because we want another reason why you want to grow is because you want market leadership. Okay. And companies attract and retain good employee, because why? When you're growing, the company become bigger, you can have good employees. You can have good ones, like what Anthony Tan was telling us now, right? And you can attract good talent, influence and have power. So these are the reasons why, Now, most entrepreneur ventures fail because inability to manage growth. Okay, so this I already talked to you about it, right?
Well, I think the most important thing about running a company is to remember all the time what a company is. A company is simply a group of people, and as a leader of people, you have to be a great listener, and you have to be a great motivator. You have to be very good at praising and looking for the best in people. You know, people are no different from flowers. If you water flowers, they flourish. If you praise people, they flourish, and that's a critical attribute of a leader.
Okay, let's look at what is.
You know, there is a very thin dividing line between success and failure. Most people who set up in business without financial backing, they fail at some times in their lives. And you know, I've only just stayed at the right side of that dividing line. For instance, just after, you know, we had a record company, I was fed up flying on other people's airlines. I felt that the experience of flying on other people's airlines was an unpleasant one, and I decided to set up an airline. Our bank went into complete panic attack, and when I came back from doing the inaugural flight of Virgin Atlantic's very first flight from London to New York, I came back to find the bank manager sitting on my doorstep and informing me that they were going to close Virgin down on the Monday, and this was the Friday, and that I had 2 days to effectively pay them off the monies that they'd loaned us. I remember pushing the bank manager out of my house, telling him he wasn't welcome, which is a dangerous thing to do to your bank manager, and then spending the weekend ringing around the world to all of the distributors of our music, asking if they could give us a temporary loan to get us through the following week, which they were good enough to do. And by the end of the week, we'd changed banks. We'd actually managed to find a bank that was willing to lend us 30 times the overdraft facility that our bank had lent us, and we managed to survive. And I think, you know, the moral of that story is actually, you know, don't, you know, think of your bank as somebody that you're beholden to. I mean, don't, you know, I mean, people just don't move from one bank to another. Sometimes you need to be willing to step up and move your banks in the same way that you should step up and move your doctor on occasions. Or anyway, I learned from that lesson. Virgin does work very well without me. I mean, I
Okay, so that's a very interesting interview. You know, he talks about, you know, his life when he started. You know, Virgin Airlines, right? Isn't it Richard Branson? He actually started off with the Virgin Record. It's a record company, you know. And one day when he was traveling, he saw that the airline company not good. Then he said, "Hey, why don't we start an airline?" You know. And he went to the bank and then he told them, "Hey, I want to start an airline." The banker was gone crazy. You know, they say, "You're mad." You know, we want to start an airline company. Do you know how much of money you need for that? So when he launched the airline, everything running, the first flight, inaugural flight, the banker came to him in his house and told him that he's going to stop the loan already. Like, in 2 days, you got to pay back the loan. Now, these are the kind of things that entrepreneurs go through, you know. So immediately he had to turn around and think of, you know, creative way. How can I get, you know, loan, you know? And then finally, end of the month, they could get another banker who paid them, they could give them 30 times the overdraft facility that the current bank had given. Like that. So entrepreneurs go through this kind of thing, and managing it is a very important part of it. As I said, there's a very thin line between bankruptcy and running and being successful. So sometimes we can cross this side, that side, in a very easy thing. So being an entrepreneur is a huge challenge, right? Okay, now these are the factors that block the growth of a business line, right? Unstable economy, government regulations, increased competition, lack of innovation, poor mix of employee, you know, lack of management, lack of market knowledge, lack of training. And then now we can add one more, pandemic, right, isn't it? You know, pandemic can actually stop the growth of the business. So the only thing is, if you have innovation, you can somehow rather, you know, break through the barriers that you have, and you're able to be successful. Okay, joint venture is another way you can penetrate international market. You see, for example, Alibaba, you know. Alibaba, when they want to enter into Malaysian and Asian market, they never come as Alibaba, you know. What they did was they did a joint venture with Lazada. So now Lazada is actually, I think, almost bought over by Alibaba. Okay, so this is the strategy, you know. Sometimes people, when Alibaba opens a shop here in Malaysia, people don't like to buy from a China company, maybe, but they're used to Lazada, so they might as well, buy from Lazada. So instead of fighting, what they do is they collaborate with each other. So that's what happened. Even Grab, they exited the China market, right? Exited from the China market, and but what they did was they joint venture with the local company there. So that's how joint venture could be one way of growing, and reducing the risk of the business. Okay, now we talk about entering the foreign market. A few reasons, we studied this in international business. Why we reason for forming joint venture is because you want to enter into a new market, foreign market. You want to raise capital. You want to expand cooperative research. Okay, these are the motivations for going global. Okay, reason why companies go global, because you can use economies of scale. Because your products can be sold all over the world, you're a huge market, the cost per production drops, okay? And technological advantage, unique market opportunity, economies of scale, this is the word, economies of scale, okay? Tax benefit, sometimes when you travel overseas, when you are overseas business, there's a lot of tax benefits are there, okay? That's also there. Unique market opportunity, okay? And you have access to a huge market, right? Competitive pressure. Sometimes what happens in local, the pressure is very high, competition is very high. So what you do, you go overseas so that you have less competition in that particular country. So these are the reasons why companies go global. Global is an expansion. For example, you talk about Grab, Grab actually earlier stages, they only started in Malaysia, and then after that they went into Singapore and registered the company in Singapore. So they say now they are a Singaporean company, but actually both of them are Malaysians, Both the founders are Malaysian. They actually started it in Malaysia in the early days. Okay. And then from Malaysia, they expanded to Indonesia, the Philippines, I think they're in 7 different countries within the ASEAN area. Why they expand? Because, they have different countries, they have different market opportunity. Now, when they went into the Thailand market, they found that they can use motorbikes, like Gojek, like that, which they don't have in Malaysia. In Malaysia, there's no market for it, So there was a unique market opportunity there. So then they started off with motorbikes in Thailand. Also in Indonesia, you have Grab bike over there in Indonesia, right? Which you don't have in Malaysia. So each market has got its innovations and different kind of challenges that they have, right? So that's unique product services they have. Okay, I want to talk about intellectual property here. Now, these are a few things that we need to know, right? IP. Remember, we looked at IP. IP or intellectual property is one of the resources that a company and entrepreneur can have. Intellectual property. It can be patent, can be trademarks, can be copyright, and can be trade secret. These are all the intellectual. When you talk about IP, intellectual property, it can be all these things, right? Can be a patent. Patent is, for example, you have a patent for a particular, a design. Okay, you have a certain design that you have, for example, you have a certain design and you don't want other people to copy your design, then you go and get a patent. Okay, trademarks, TM. Trademark is, for example, a design or a logo. Maybe your logo is there. Have you seen the word TM on your in certain logos? You have TM written down there, right? Isn't it? That means that nobody else can copy the same design of the particular logo, right? That's called trademarks. Then you have copyright. Copyright means, for example, you can have certain copyright means, how do I explain to you copyright? Where you grant the owner exclusive authorship literary, for example, songs, books, all these are copyright. They don't come under patent, Patent is a design or software or something like that. Copyright is basically, it could be songs, literary works, script, computer software, music, all that comes under copyright. Okay, and finally is trade secret. Trade secret is formula. For example, you talk about Coca-Cola, they have a formula, a patent, physical evidence, idea, process, all these comes under the trade secret law. So there are different intellectual properties: patent, trademarks, copyright, and trade secrets. Okay, all right. So we have covered all the modules, all the chapters that we have covered. Any questions before we go on? Any questions? Okay?
Okay, sir.
All right. Okay. Now, I'll give you a 5-minute break, and then we have the last session. We're going to